Chapter 11. Trip to the Labyrinth. Selenium. Diane, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 11. Trip to the Labyrinth. Selenium. Diane, well, let's rest today. Seeing the skylight in the labyrinth began to lose even its orange light, Diane turned around. Can't we move a little more? Selenium tilts her head. And Zero's sighs. Smithson can't move. Sorry, I apologize to the three girls. I was the dead weight of the party. Andy.San, are you tired? Yes, regardless of Diane, who is doubtful of whether there is a limit of physical strength either. It is embarrassing as a man to lose to Anzeros, who wears her black armor, and even Selenium, who is not a soldier. Honestly, it is shameful. My feet are aching. Tentatively, it was over 40 kilometers, which is enough for today's journey. One of Diane's special skills is to calculate the distance walked almost precisely. She was used to be making maps before entering the military, and it seems that she obtained that skill at that time. Out of 200 years, military life is only 30 years. Diane, who has various skills like a masterpiece, used some of her feats to manage her core. Can we really get out in 3 weeks at this pace? The tolerance range is up to 5 weeks, and zeros. Diane shakes a scroll. She copied the map that was in the Ox.Ogre village. Diane smiled and refused the offer of Isaac to guide us to the labyrinth exit. He will waste a month and a half back and forth when he goes out with us for a long vacation period. Since Diane had confidence in her sense of direction, she asked only if there was a map, and we departed by copying the labyrinth map, which was treasured by the village. Isaac has taught me how to distinguish the correct route, which is quite useful. Is it also a mark? No, it is a way to distinguish air rather than a mark. The correct route is the place where people can live, and people are still using it now. If you look carefully, people's marks are more than traces of monsters. How do you distinguish them? Such a thing is like a feeling. Well, maybe I'm only one who understands it. Diane makes a bitter smile. The common point between ogres and dark elves is that they can see in the darkness. That's why the situation of these places can be read more finely than ordinary humans and elves. I see, there are no signs of monsters around here, which is perfect for making a camp. Exposing her hand to a stream flowing into the labyrinth, we aimed for a small room nearby. Monsters had never appeared on the route until now, though it is possible to stand up and to fight. The desert labyrinth formed a kind of ecosystem. Maintaining the air clean, spreading the groundwater to the whole, generating monsters to be a predator to prey other monsters, and defend several hidden villages with numerous fraud. It was a magnificent gimmick with functions close to a forest in the sense that it protects and nurtures living beings, harmonizes by utilizing energy and resources. Really, who made such a labyrinth? If elves didn't do it, then it was probably made by a dragon. I wonder if there is still a dragon. There might be one of the dragon palaces here if you search well. Don't say scary things. Preparing dinner, we have such a talk. The dinner which was caught by Diane from outside the route a few days ago was a monster-like pig. We ate it at the party at the Ox.Ogre village. It seems that in front of Diane that monster wasn't so strong. To get food in this form is very good on a journey, but as a person, I feel a sense of resistance to eating a monster. You, please don't make a tantrum, Andy. If you are tired, you have to take extra protein. If it's a little bit, it dwindles every muscle. Diane shows a bitter smile to me, who is hesitant to eat the grilled meat. Do you want me to help you eat it by doing mouth-to-mouth feeding? Selenium approaches me when the chance is seen. Stop, Selenium, that is shameless. That's right, don't steal a march on. The other two grab hold of Selenium and stopped her. Diane opened up because Isaac was gone and did not mind that Anzeros had a bitter face. The fight will be fair. We're going to handle it at night. Even if the fight is different, I don't have anything, even if Andy.San compared me to Diane.San. I won't change as Andy.San's slave, so I just want to do more. That's very sly. I won't lose as long as there is no winner decided. Hoo. That's the privilege of a female slave. While squeezing my arms, Diane and Selenium are fighting with each other. I will leave the two of them alone for the time being and continue my conflict by shedding sweat in front of the monster flesh. No, the girls and the ogres have eaten it calmly. I think it must be okay, but in the opposite, I'm the only human. Ogres might be resistant to the monster's chi because they can see in the darkness, and there might be some immunity to the bad chi for the elves because they can use magic. They are all right and say that I should feel relieved too. I feel responsible for the fact that I am particularly pulling my legs, even while applying a reason to my physiological aversion. It isn't so easy for me to have stamina as soon as I eat meat, but if I don't eat this meat, it is certain that there is only a hard bread, water, and dried fruits to eat. And it is severe when it is said that it is enough to recover fatigue of my aching feet. Eating this is likely to be a little unreasonable nourishment for a soldier who wants to recover. No, I would say the duty as a man. You only have to eat, but absolutely, it is a difficult thing, and Zeros guessed the conflict in my mind and sighs. She slowly retracts her hand into her armor, rustling. She held something in her hand. Being held in her delicate hand was blessing salt from the Church of Trot Kingdom. Oh, this. In the kingdom, it is a ritual seasoning available anywhere. When eating the meat of an animal with a slightly guilty feeling because you directly hunted it or livestock which you have kept for many years, you use this salt to purify the staining feeling so you can eat the meat, and so it became an encouraging friend. It's not like you, the two people beside me were somehow stricken. Carry it all the time, right? I don't have it with me always. I found it on sale mixed within the miscellaneous goods at the Ophiclade market, so I bought it carelessly, behind the back of Diane who bought the see-through cloth, and Zeros bought such a reliable good. I feel like you can eat this, don't you use it? I often eat it when I take it, and it is important, huh. That's so. I used the salt and started to eat. Oh, somehow I can eat it without resistance. I feel like I lost the bonds to my countrymen. I don't know the food culture because it was self-sufficient in Polka. The two people beside me were somehow stricken. Midnight. In the small room in the labyrinth where the moonlight is inserted, I lie down exhausted, not making a sound, while Diane and Selenium start to caress me. It was an act that became almost a routine in recent days. I'm also tired for today. Don't tell me that a man who's tired is particularly prone to erection. As Diane says, her whole body, especially her legs, are overwhelmingly motionless, but Selenium licks energetically strangely. I wonder if the lust of a boy not to be able to jump on a girl gathers here and wants to come out. The theory I saw in the library at the capital's university was that there was a growing instinct to leave the offspring by decreasing the vitality of life. I'm doing some real research as well. Reru, Diane wears the erotic see-through costume. And for Selenium, she wears a costume that was made with the fur of the monster which we ate a little while ago and which hides her private parts lightly. Ears and tail, like a beast man, have been invented for some reason. It seems to have been made to fight against Diane's tempting costume. Whichever is better, you should take a good rest and we will pull it out firmly. Andy.San's face is vivid with excitement. The subtle and outlandish Beastman outfit is strangely convincing thanks to the collar wrapped around the neck of Selenium. When I raised my arms a little bit and stroked Selenium's head, Selenium smiled and shook her pretty butt. The fake tail is swung as if it is alive. It seems she has wanted to do this. Well then, today Selenium slowly pulls off her fur panty and straddles over me before she slowly sinks down. Diane is trying to satisfy me, a boobs lover, by rubbing her boobs against the side of my face. Diane, who has a strong and calm heart. Lung gradually becomes breathless while pressing her boobs on me. Threesome, a dream of mine, can be done fully automated. Although I do not think a little about what we are doing every night, it is hard to throw away the feeling of intertwining as three people got together like this, so I continue to be excited. Good, feeling, good, much, Andy.San's penis pokes my womb. Nusia, selenium swaying up and down on me. It seems that selenium likes the woman on top posture a lot. She seems to like the feeling of service and the feeling of squeezing with her own initiative. However, it is only recently. So, somehow, I'm afraid of being attacked by your lust and you show an unsatisfied face, that, AAA. Although selenium tried to deny something, it is not misunderstood as her lower back moved in rhythm. She is crazy in her head and keeps on hitting her lower part against my dick. You know what, if you attack me, then if you get fucked by me, you are welcome anywhere and you have the confidence to go crazy. I am crazy confident, just by imagining that you are desperately wanting to be fucked regardless of where you are, you will be full of joy and pleasure. If you are allowed to be overflowed with semen thoroughly, you will be happy and saying, hey, I will do a little lip service, are you serious? Even while having love whispered in the ear, selenium totally tosses around with Andy.San's lower body. Selenium is trying to squeeze the semen by swinging her waist like a beast, covering her breasts with a flirting fur bra just like a slut. The limit came quickly. AAA. Cool. I was told that I didn't have to move, but I raised up my waist only at the last moment. Selenium makes it so that her whole body weight is left defenseless so that she can be lifted up by me and our bodies bounce into the height. As it is, selenium stares into the air for about a minute. This little lingering is a gentleman's agreement with Diane trying not to disturb each other, no ladies' agreement as they are ladies. No, are they lewd women? It seems that the agreement was concluded anyway. Waiting until selenium weakens properly, then take turns with Diane. Hoo, it is your true appearance, I'm a minor performer. Of course. As said, the initiative was robbed from me. Diane's genital is hanging over my son that is stained with selenium slime. Both of them are completely hairless, so there is nothing to disturb me at all. Diane lowered her waist proudly and a lewd scene can be seen in the moonlight. I wonder if this is better. Diane shows a dirty smile while moving her waist in turn. Even though a month hasn't passed since I was a virgin, I already had a sexual expression like I like sex and I cannot help it. I dare say no comment, let me make a comment. The movement changes. A horizontal movement that seems to dance violently while adding an irregularly and extraordinarily accent. The vaginal wall that makes moves freely swallows my dick right away. Be honest, alright. This waist skill is so good that it is unbelieved to come from a former virgin. Ultra.first.class physical ability and motivation to learn. Every time I have sex, I can feel that love that swells whenever we make love and is boosting that learning. In order to make me feel good, when I am walking in the daytime, preparing meals, I know that Diane keeps thinking that when she is enviously watching selenium and me having sex and exhales her spirit. This, taste, rue. Even in the morning, afternoon, in front of N0s, in the sun. Diane.San, rape delusion, I will do it. Raping, peel off my underwear anytime, get in my body whenever you want. I want to become pregnant from you, let's do the delusion play now, okay? Diane whispers so with drunken eyes as serious as she is. In the daytime, I suddenly pushed Diane onto the wall of the labyrinth and fucked her. Ridiculously looking at the front and throwing away the waistcloth of Diane suddenly, I pull the undergarment violently down to the knees and filling the inside of the vagina with my semen. I imagined that situation like a daydream and I couldn't bear it anymore. Nha. The semen was slammed into the womb. That said, I wasn't a tuna until the end. Tens of minutes later. A water field outside the small room. Hey N0s, what is it, why are you always washing your underwear naked when I come to grow down? I don't have to tell you, idiot, comparatively, to tell the truth, it is not understood subtly though I have encountered it many times up to now. Well, you are stupid. It's unexpected you don't know about a woman. I feel quite stupid somehow. You're stupid, idiot. I think it's a very stupid conversation. Why don't you see, girls, they release more juices if, we do it at a shameful spot. That what you heard? Yeah. I also saw it, yo. I wonder if she needs to wash her clothes so much because of love juice. I really knew now. Besides, nothing. What is it? It turns a somewhat dubious look to N0s, who has suffered in suddenly trying to say something. N0s was sulky, and after several minutes she whispers. That's right, you are an idiot, you only see my chest. What do you want to say? Shut up. Even though she is an ace knight, she isn't scared to be seen naked. She's just a pretty girl that I've seen. I don't know if you have anything to say. I'm telling you, you're noisy. In this situation, I don't know what to say to you. Even if you say such a thing, sh.u.t.up. Hanging to me, N0s takes a little distance from me with a chopping movement. Her modest milks shake, the air warped, and a water column appeared in the stream. Unbelievable. I was slightly moved by the shock wave of the sword pressure that was done without a sword, and I flew lightly. What? Wait, you are. S.M. Smithson. I was astonished that there was no shock at the timing that I should land in the stream. Apparently, there seemed to be a hole or something in the dark where the stream flowed. I seemed to have lost consciousness without hitting anything. I opened my eyes slowly, and a naked woman was in front of me. It seems that my head was rest on her lap. I wonder if these majestic breasts have the same size as Diane. Oh, why, before that, let me ask you a question. A naked woman, Diane's voice, no. Why is a naked man falling down in the middle of Russell Labyrinth? Did you had so many guts to explore the labyrinth while being naked? I was surprised to open my vague eyes. Not a dark elf. A woman who I haven't seen before. However, the woman who stretches out her chest was naked for some reason. What? Basha, I crawl in the water to back off. I'm fine after all. Luxurious black hair, gorgeous milks, and sharp eyes. Behind that woman, a child who holds a cloth is staring at me. No, is it a dwarf girl? Isn't it rude to be naked? No, we are both naked. I'm so confused that I can't say anything as to who, what, and why to say first. The beautiful woman with big boobs put her hand on her waist and smiled. Welcome to my dragon palace, human boy. Chapter 12. Dwarf Girls Trial. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dragon Palace. It's not a dragon colony. Because the presence of a dragon is too large militarily politically to be called just a collective ground. There are no attacks from dragons unless you directly interfere with them, but there are tens or hundreds of crowd of creatures in the disaster class that can ash a small city in a single day. A few kilometers around the Dragon Palace in most nations of the continent is a land of military aggression and is used as a natural fortress for military strategy. As long as the general population doesn't know about it, well, they won't come near. Dragon palaces are only approached by adventurers and speculators who come by themselves. In other words, you were in the midst of a trip. Traveling through Russell Labyrinth is a tough trip. The long black-haired beauty laughed. She seems to be satisfied easily by the story that I talked in a hurry while making an M character in the shallow water of 50 centimeters. Meanwhile, she didn't try to hide her gorgeous nude by applying her hands to her hips. I didn't raise my head up. I'm scared. So this here is really a dragon palace. Of course, haven't you heard about the fairy tale of the black dragon from Russell Desert? I haven't, as I wasn't born in Celesta. That's boring. It's quite a romantic fairy tale. Elder sister Layla, let's get dressed quickly. Oh, that's right, the black-haired woman seems to have thought about that now after the dwarf girl said so. Hey boy. That sort of I will prepare some boy clothes, so come 1 inch Or do you want to talk to me while being naked? It seems quite interesting. so I would welcome to have some taste, elder sister Layla. I know, I'm just kidding, this dwarf girl doesn't seem to be timid in front of that beauty. Maybe she is a dragon's child that just looks like a dwarf. I'm feeling comfortable being in the rock house near the waterhole. I managed to wear a prototype that was presented to me somehow. The black-haired woman dressed her clothes in front of me without worrying about me at all. It seems that she is completely lacking a sense of shame. Well, my name is Layla. I'm the last dragon of this dragon palace. Last, what do you mean? Before that, I want to hear your name, boy. I'm Andy Smithson. 10. Man Captain of Celesta's Northern Crossbow Corps. Ho, 10 Man Captain. Is a 10. Man Captain great? The dwarf girl bends herself forward than Layla. That's, for example, I'm a little lacking to be a manager of a store for. Something like a clerk, oh, but it's pretty great. For a human who is that young. She seems to be glad somehow. How long has it been since you a soldier tumbled into my dragon palace? While Layla grins with a smile, I trembled. It is said that an army official said that he will do an investigation and went into a dragon palace carelessly, angering a dragon so that the nearby village became ashes. There seems to be quite a few examples of that. I don't really understand the reasons because it is a hearsay, but maybe I will be the cause that Ophiclade will be destroyed after I'm eaten here. Ho, you may not be frightened. I just thought the seeds of a good story could be rolled. Don't worry, I feel relieved. I continued my story in a calm state for the time being. That child. Is she Layla, San's daughter, or not? Do I look like a woman who gave birth? I'm sorry, it's my first time seeing a dragon in my life. This girl is my friend, living in the nearby dwarf colony. Jean cracks. I'm counting on you, 10. Man Captain. The dwarf girl Jean seems not to care that a 10. Man Captain isn't a complete soldier and cheerfully put out her hands. She grasps me and I am shaken. I was swayed with all one's might. You're weak, 10. Man Captain. Oh, I'm in a corps that rarely fight or kills. If you're a man, you need to be more muscular. That's why you don't have a suitable partner. I will keep silent for the time being, though there are about 3 people here tentatively. It only makes things complicated. After that, we drank alcohol for a while and in a moment it became morning. 10. Man Captain, 10. Man Captain, it's time to get up. I remember until I put my mouth on the cup, but when I notice it, a blue skylight is falling from the skylight of the Dragon Palace. 10. Man Captain, you're weak with alcohol. I memorize the taste of the alcohol as usual. You're completely useless. Jean cackles. I seem to have been acknowledged as a miserable living thing. And 10. Man Captain, what's that? Oh. My crotch became large. Because I was just hooking a penetrating garment in the nakedness, just a slight slippage of the drooping will expose my dick. And my dick is sky-rocking. That's because it's morning. This is a physiological phenomenon called morning wood. No. Jean turns red and runs away with a full power dash. Layla came in quietly, wandered around and saw the circumstances by seeing through my appearance. Andy, do you have the urge to copulate suddenly? I admit that she is cute, that's not even close. She isn't even that old to do that. Ho. You were totally reacting to our nakedness, so I thought clearly that it was your hobby. Different. I'm a breast-loving boy from Polka. Yesterday, it was just an awkward situation. I see. So you want to fiercely fight with me for mating? No, it's also different. It took nearly 10 minutes to return the flow of the story. Come on, calm down. As for breakfast, a little vegetable and goat milk came out, so I was grateful. So you want me to assist Jean? Yeah, it was a strange suggestion. Even if you say that I shall assist, if I don't return, my friends will be worried. Well. It's only for one day, which is today, then how am I going to assist? Hunting. In the first place, Jean met Layla a few years ago. Layla, who had been living here, was strolling in the labyrinth to kill time, and she has helped Jean, who ran away from a pig monster of the example, seems to be called Hell Boar, in full force. If she can't hunt alone, that child won't be admitted as one of her colony, so she can't have a drink of alcohol. It's a pretty strict colony, even if the ogres seems to be strong enough to do it occasionally. Are they letting their children also do that? It seems that dwarves are asking for drinks no longer as much as habits, so it is logical that children want to be recognized. I'm saying that I will help you at any time, but then I will not ask you anything. By the way, is it safe to go with someone as weak as me? Your expression isn't bad for such a place, but I really weak, that's not a fake. Originally I only can wield a crossbow. My crossbow was also left in our camp, so my current strength is like a townsperson. You know what, I don't ask you forcibly. If you follow, take this. Something like a piece of stone is passed into my palm. It's red as if you painted it with something. What's this? This is a hidden treasure made of my breath. A flame breath from me will overflow momentarily if you throw it. It's disposable and the Hellsboar will be a one-shot shot, truly a treasure. It looks convenient. But I only have to take Jean there directly. I normally don't want to rely on you, but I'm unable to help her. I see, Jean doesn't want to rely on strong things. She wants to do something with her own hands. She wants to become independent. It is important to be an independent soldier. It is an insurance. An insurance, in the case that a child is unable to do it. I see, understood. It may be a cheap proposal for a valuable experience to see and meet a dragon, nude. I thought so and took the stone. 10. Man Captain, do you really don't lust for me? I don't. Don't worry, the reason for that is that every human male has such a reaction in the morning every day. It seems that dwarves don't have a morning wood in the morning. My extra knowledge has increased. Am I not good? Aren't you a pervert stranger who will mow down a cheap woman? That's totally unreasonable. No matter how you look at her, Jean only looks like a 10 to 12 years old girl. She doesn't have a normal sexy body. We were going up the stairs in the labyrinth while having such a subtle awkward conversation. The time and place where the Hellsboar is born seems to be decided. Hellsboar is born and strong, but only one is born. It was a strategy of Jean that if she aims when it isn't flocking it is not bad. But, you can also use a dwarf girl like that. I admire seeing Jean's wields. It was a huge hammer that seemed likely to weigh 10 kilograms with only the head part. Even adult men can't swing it so easily. Hee. I'll reconsider a dwarf. It's certainly not as unreasonable as an ogre, but it has power, and the dexterity is certified. Yes, there were dwarves in our troops, but we didn't see much of their tribal strength. From now on, I'm going to increase the ratio. I rely on them a little. And in the middle of a little large room just around the corner, I saw something like electric light clicking. Let's leave. We need to go down. 10. Man Captain, oh, I'm supposed to be a witness of the activity of Jean. In the explanation from Layla tentatively. Jean was ready with her hammer and prepared for the appearance of the monster. Hiding in the wall. Light gathered, strengthened, the time that it got dreadfully past. Pan and a good momentum sounded, the light was able to burst. What? Jean raises the voice of losing momentum. There was nothing in the center of the room. 2. Appearance, failure, is it? Wrong. I ran my eyes quickly. Right and left. No obstacle, which becomes a hiding place. Then. Jean, move aside. The Hellsboar was eyeing Jean, as it hangs on the ceiling by thrusting its hooves into it. This monster is cunning from the moment it was born. The Hellsboar stays where Jean avoided. Its fangs gouged the stone ground. Cool. Jean let go of her hammer and sped up with a delayed response as she avoided it safely. The monster's toe flips the rolling hammer and the hammer flying back towards me. I fell down and the hammer thrust into the wall behind me. suddenly losing her special weapon. While taking a fighting pose with her fist, I can see despair spreading on Jean's face. Damn, I grabbed the sealed fire breath in the bag which I put on my pelvis, and I was instantly lost whether I should throw it. If this is thrown, the referee stop and the game end. Jean is definitely spared. However, the thought as the supporter interfered. Jean. Don't run, Jean. Don't run away, fight it, 10. Man captain. Do not give up as long as you have your weapon. Don't give up even if your opponent is strong. Throw a stone when you have no weapon. If there is no stone, spread sand. That, enemies won't wait, move. Do more than what your opponent does. If you know the weakness of an enemy, just a knife is enough. That was said to me by my instructor at the troop training military as he struck me with his sword. He said, don't be a soldier who can't do anything without a single weapon. I shall not die miserably because I wasn't ready. War isn't like that. If I'm going to fight, win and come back alive, don't give up until the end. Don't close your eyes. Don't stop thinking. Don't despair. Become a soldier who isn't afraid of injuries. Even if I can't fight with a sword, I should run away even if I cry, as long as I'm a soldier who is still alive. You want to be independent. You want to live and be alive. 10. Man captain, to avoid enemy attacks successively, you're not wrong. Next, think about your next move. You haven't lost anything yet. You haven't done anything yet. After a long time, it was me who yelled these words at a soldier who was stranded in a long-term march. A soldier who burst into tears as soon as his leg hurts, his strings are broken, it was no good. At that time, I dared to mimicry the sword saints of Trot. Isaac grins as he sees us, but all the soldiers I yelled at turned out to be properly fine. I understood, 10. Man captain. Good. Despair disappears. Overflowing bloodlust fills her fists. That's fine. The hammer and the sword are only an extension of the arms and fists. The power of that child is far enough to fight even with stones or bare hands. An engineering melee weapon cannot do more than the person's own power. Gaia. Hellsbore and Jean cross each other from the front. The steroids girl who threw away her heavy weapon and became lightly outdo the speed of the Hellsbore, although its fangs try to bite Jean. Turning to its head, Jean hammers her fist into the bloodshot eye. Rhea. Goa. The Hellsbore has one of its eyes smashed and is distracted. While keeping the blind spot, Jean ran as she flew down the ground and jumped over me to grasp the handle of her hammer. 10. Man captain, go. Bagoo, Jean pulls out the hammer and scatters a rock well. Hellsbore, who noticed that sound, turned around. The remaining eye was too bloodshot and turned crimson red. Now, finish it. Gah. Hellsbore raises a howl. Jean holding her hammer lightly with her arms stained red with blood back to the elbow. Again, interplay. This time it is truly a direct match. And the hammer of Jean, who overcame her fear, doesn't lose to the messy movement of the deranged monster. Dariaya. Pogiu. The head was completely crushed by a full swing of Jean's hammer, and the Hellsbore was killed in only 3 minutes. And this time it was truly Jean who won it alone. It was a dangerous bridge to get across. Even if it becomes dangerous, she manages to do it alone, and it is not thought that she is independent even if there is no experience. And, this child is strong enough. I knew she could win. Indeed, I thought she should be okay by chance if you're an incompetent man, but you showed me that I was wrong. When Layla received Jean, who fell asleep because of tiresome from me, she grins and kissed her forehead. You're a better soldier than I thought. After all, you doubt me to be a soldier. I get a little scared now. I may be able to run away from a Hellsbore, but it is impossible to escape from a dragon. No doubt, I got fired up since a long time and, no, that, please, only my life, hoo. Layla approaches me slowly with a grin. She puts her arms around my shoulders and whispers to me. You want to be saved? By all means, if possible, is that so? Then you won't go back to where you came from. Yes, the back of the room where Jean was laid down to sleep is near the waterhole I fell into. Then, Layla took off her clothes without hesitation, became stark naked and got entangled with me. What? Ho. I am determined, please give me yourself, I will be your mother, ha. I just got tired of living alone, so I decided to go live in your hometown together with a child from you. Why is it so? A child from you would be a good dragon. It's just that. Hey, it isn't bad to live in a dragon palace. Am I supposed to stay here? If so, do you keep me? Either way, wait. Calm down. I can't calm down. I wedded myself for the first time in 100 years, so shouldn't I receive a reasonable reward? Did you find him? No, even though I lost sight of Smithson, everywhere. Damn, I thought he fell into something like a hole. What do you mean? No monster, no, there is a sign around here, Diane.san, and Zeros.san. What is selenium? You didn't use illusion magic. What happened? No, the sign of illusion magic is around here. Wait a moment, it's illusion magic, isn't it? Terrible clever. Damn, really Andy, what did you get involved in? Let's release it, please help me selenium. Yes. Chapter 13. Layla's sexual excitement. Layla, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 13. Layla's sexual excitement. Layla applies my hand on her chest and hips and she starts to lick my neck as I stroked her hips. Don't give a voice like a girl. If I can taste you well with your good chest and nice ass, there's nothing wrong with a soldier, and, no, that, I wonder how it became such a sexual relationship. I smell 2 girls from you. Both of them are thick. Are you enjoying them side by side or alternately? Wait. Why does she know that? That's not a Tsukomi to pass on to a dragon. No wonder she can do whatever she wants. Instead of talking about morality from your mouth, you lady.killer. It is not even possible to face a person who would refuse a night with me. Based from you, I'm a lady.killer, but I was a virgin until the other day. Ho, I want to taste you more and more. Indeed, you are a man who has carnal knowledge of a woman. You got 2 elves and are having sex with them in the morning and evening, right? I understand why an elf smell is omitted from below. And I have to say that the outline is rough. I think my current situation is too bad when I explain it in words. No, I must be happy, but I cannot a bit. Well, the womb of a dragon isn't much different from a person, so isn't it a dream that you should enjoy fully? Ho, really only one night? Okay, I mean that it's up to you. Well. In other words, should I think that this person doesn't have sex which occupies the taste? Or, will she escape if she is satisfied? Kukuku. Very troublesome. Your face is so tempting. Layla loves to stroke my cheeks and finally moved on her own. Ha, it's been a long time of mating, my heart is excited. It will be over until Jean wakes up. It is certain that I don't want to show it to that child. Hoo, you are the second one for me, there are many obligations to show me around. Now, in the middle of the water field, there is a polished flat rock that is like an island. It looks good to dip here on a hot day, but now it was Layla and my bed lit by the moonlight. I feel pretty good. I feel the bloodthirst of eating a woman. I would like you to not feel bloodthirst from my dick. I mean, I'm not having sex so far. But the nude body of Layla and the request, give me semen and make me a mother, don't let my son wither silently. No, frankly, I have an erection like a virgin. Hoo, it's a nice thing to remember, boy. Sex is essentially an invasion of the partner and the murderous weapon is the subject of the partner. It is a savage and ferocious will that destroy the partner's honor and takes away the choice of the other person and wants to occupy him without saying, I don't know, but it's a little too one-sided, right? If you purify the sexual desire, without the wrapping leather of love and affection. It is that kind of thing. Layla begins licking the back of my pole with her long tongue, for example. Especially the penis is a poor creature that is forced to work hard to conceal it softly somehow. And don't break your partner, hoo, do not make a strange face. And to the end it's normal. Even females are similar. There are those who are born with occasional inversion desires. They want to break out of their shell, they feel joy in being beaten up by living aspiration, wanted to be tied up, deprived of freedom and being thoroughly fucked by all means. Remember. Alright, remember, boy, there is such a woman, too. There is a kind of woman who expects to be violated with bloodlust. Not only do they want to be pleasant, but also the hot desire is thrown away, and there are women who want to be violated until they break. What? Hey boy, for example, do you think that there is not such a sad story if it is such an overwhelming fear that such a woman even gets close to any man? Layla, who is watching me, strokes my dick with one hand. In other words, she wants to be raped by me. She wants to be pressed down, and have her secret hole pierced and used as an arbitrary ejaculation tool without any handling or care. She really wants to get pregnant and be a mother. Is Layla really sure about that? You're a very tough dragon. No, don't say that. I'm not changing my mind. Okay, then let's misunderstand. I'm sorry, but my penis became quiet from what she said. So Layla said that she is a dragon who can't imagine pregnancy realistically like Selenium or Diane. If it is said that it is irresponsibility, there is no refutation, and if it is said to be an injustice, there is no sound. However, how can it be done that such a thing is whispered to a superb woman? Layla, yup, I will ravish you, I slowly attracted Layla's head towards me with my hands and kissed her. Our tongues entwined together and we exchanged deep kisses. Layla's tongue is still long and tasted a little bit of my dick, which I endured. Letting go of her lips, I pushed her passionate face against my crotch. Ngu, lick it. Holding it in one's mouth, nasty. NNN, I selfishly demanded a fellatio. Layla's desire, to be ravished as a desire, is the beginning of treatment. Personally, I was a bit nervous, but Layla was pleased. Grabbing my dick firmly without touching my hands, her tongue tangled around it. I pinned her head down. Gu, he, egu, you. I'm really happy with you. Pervert dragon, Ongwu, NNN. As Layla said, she is a masochist and befitting of this description. She is a real masochist who understands it herself surely, though I don't know how to perceive it and who developed it in the past. Good, drink it, drink it. NNN. Ejaculation. There is no pace, so I put a selfish ejaculation into Layla's throat. Layla's back, spine, and shoulders tremble from receiving it. Hu, you, koha, hihu, gu, you, how are you doing? You want to be like this, Layla. As expected you're my anticipated soldier. You are expecting a relation with a soldier, hoo, that courage and passion, that sexual desire, even if I know there is a man who can do this to me. Goodman. There are only two moody elves in the way. Those girls aren't moody, you don't have to be humble. Let's continue. Use me to the fullest and try to pierce your dick in the back of this womb many times. Layla, with tears in her eyes and having semen pouring out of her lips, stood up in the moonlight. She shakes her perfect limbs like a god-engraved artwork and shows her pink hole under the pubic hair. She felt it while having her throat being raped, and the labia that was spread out made a sound, and a different liquid which is different from water flowed out. Now, inside this, you can ejaculate as much as you want, okay? Let's mix together. Yes, I'm going to entertain you. I will let you eat a full course of me. Her waist is slowly dropped on me. And my penis is swallowed very easily and hugged by her whole vagina that was wet and drenched. Nah, ku, Hey, don't use your strength. Coming, you, I'm having sex for the first time in 100 years, please forgive me, I don't forgive, mew. Don't come alone, let me ejaculate too, this meat toilet, you oh. I grabbed Layla's breasts spreading before me with one hand and grabbed her ass with the other hand, before thrusting my fingers into her but that moves up and down. Nah, eh. Let me eat more of you, ho, good, that momentum. You should violate my body more violently. Even if you don't say, I will. Gucho, I begin to violate Layla's vagina. Her trembling vagina is still not in the way of my insertion. The cervix waits for my coming, repeatedly kissing the glands. I poke Layla's swinging nipples with my fingers and Layla sticks her tongue out and showing a great reaction. Cool, ouch, more, mess more around with me, make me a woman. You are my tool, your vagina is just for my masturbating. TSS, you, masturbate, wipe my womb with your dick and use my pussy, you can use my butthole too, this body is all for your masturbation. You're a lewd, vulgar, semen-addicted and outrageous woman, what kind of fairy tale do you tell? I ejaculate while cursing. Every time Layla was abused, her vagina tightened and kept urging me to ejaculate. Come, my womb, I'm being seated now. Ha, and I was worn out. While thrusting 3 fingers into her buttocks, sucking on her nipples intensely, I only could ejaculate at last. Although my erection continues, my physical strength to move my waist is insufficient. I have to take a day off. What's wrong, boy? You should release more, I'm sorry, my stamina. Hoo, that's a pitiful lie. Well, it is not too bad to see the moon while having my womb screwed by you like this, you can move whenever you want to move again. I'm so happy right now. Okay, it's different from what I first calculated. I am too absorbed in the rape play while making such a tremendously strong opponent fall and I feel something pretty muddy. At the moment when I tried to move my waist until I could move again, a huge water column rose near us. Ho, Layla who has sharp eyes for a moment and I are surprised. I who laid down because of the procedure, look up in the water column with my face. It was N0's and Diane who was there. Still. You're an unpolished intruder. Take your clothes off here, it's a bathhouse. You are, not a person, Diane glares at Layla with his eyes full of vigilance and murderous intent. If she looks at me with those eyes my heart will stop. Welcome to my dragon palace. Thank you for this nice man. Pleasing you, dragon. N0's is one step behind kneeling lightly in the water. She is ready to wield her sword from her waist at any time. Diane is silent without any arms before she muttered something. That man is my boyfriend, I want you to return him, I wonder. He's a little extraordinary, a little regrettable, return, no, you, Layla ignored her. I will get him back even if I need to use force, against a dragon as the opponent, you're a tough woman, even if the other party is a dragon or the Sword Saint Brigade, I won't yield to anything, interesting, Layla finally withdraws from me. Semen drips down a little from her vagina which opened and N0's was blushing. Bloodlust is emitted from Layla's whole body. It will be dangerous so I'm trying to get away, but I notice that a strange string is attached on my wrist. It is wound to a rock, so I cannot move. Wait. That is one of my treasures, not a chain of silk, so you can't break it with your human strength, what is this? A gift for you. I admit you are pretty good. Hey. My penis is exposed. Looking upward. I can look at the battle of a dragon and a master knight. The battle has started before I put my heart scream into shape. N0's, yes, I will fight that one, look for a gap and bring Andy back, I also fight, you can't, Diane was standing guard. Layla's hair blisters like she was waiting for it. Layla pauses her fingers while swinging her arm from the bottom to the top. At the moment, red flames are generated to rip off the blue darkness. It became a fireball and flew toward Diane. N0's is startled. Diane's eyes open and the next moment an impact. A huge amount of water vapor occurs. Diane.San 100. Man Commander. But, as to interrupt the cry, something brown flies from outside the site. Da. Bam, a flying kick hits Layla and blows her away. At that moment, Diane jumped toward the wall and does a triangular kick to attack Layla again. She is outside the water. What an agility. Well, that's interesting. Greetings ends now. I will aim for your vital point next. It's not even an aperitif for me right now. Across the rocky island, the two of them smiled and leaped as if they were carnivores. Flying kicks are exchanged with each other in the air and jumping to the wall, they are flying around the rocks and started a battle of fierce speed. Coo, Anaros makes a chagrined face while avoiding flying rocks and fireballs. And Zerosa's battle strategy is to crush her opponent with power and sword speed. She is strong in following opponent's apposition, but when it comes to boasting overwhelming mobility of the center of the battle, then N0 is in trouble with her heavy armor. Smithson, go now. Soon she gave up and ran towards me. And then N0 swung her sword on the silk chain. Gone. Dot. A stone that flew from sideways hit the swinging sword directly. The sword bounces off. Layla and Diane are fighting at high speed near the ceiling and they do not have time to go to N0's side. So why did the stone fly from the side? What are you going to do to 10. Man Captain? Jean the dwarf girl jumped on the rocky island with a big jump while holding her hammer. She threw a stone and is possibly misunderstanding the situation. Why is 10. Man Captain utterly stark naked and tied? Do you want to remove it? Who on earth are you, burying your head in the torso? Ah, as expected. Smithson, who is this? I'm 10. Man Captain's disciple. Jean Crux. If my master is in a pinch, it's like water in the fire. The fireball landed on the water and exploded. Steam covered. In a state where the fire and water are supposed to be terrible instead of a metaphor, Jean frowned with slightly sleepy eyes. Anyway, I will beat you. It seems I quit thinking. I mean, I do not think of anything from this child first. It is a misunderstanding. No misunderstanding. You are an experienced pervert who attacks 10. Man Captain. The pervert is not N0's. I'd like to explain it properly, but I'm kind of embarrassed to make a crack to Layla and Jean's beautiful friendship. I am not a pervert. Pervert. No, it is wrong. I am not coming to you or I will receive your pervert bacteria, idiot. You. N0's. You are an adult, so you're being beaten up. And in the day after tomorrow. When? Okay. Cap'n and Jean's small body was hit by a water bottle nearby. Moa. Hey, please have a look. It was Selenium who was the only person I couldn't see before and who appeared right now and kicked Jean rudely. What are you doing, Andy.San? Ashamed, did you see it all? Surprised, somewhat briefly, Selenium cuts the silk chain with a knife while showing a grin with emptiness feeling. She is somewhat angry and has me on my balls. I was very worried about what you're cheating on, Andy.San. No, I'm really sorry. Well, it is fine. I'm your female slave, but I want to be a female slave who is paid for being a female slave. Momi. No, since when did I become the female in a pinch? In particular. Next time, before Diane, don't pull out after 6 times, I promise I did it. I'm Andy's favorite. Selenium is kissing and hugging me. I don't quite understand what it is, but I am increasingly feeling that my son is living up again in my lower body. And then. Two strong characters from the ceiling raised a voice at the same time and jumped down. Jean almost simultaneously escaped from the crisis of drowning within the bottle and shouts. Who is this girl? You don't only have these two, but also a strong woman fetish, selenium. T is too cowardly to use me as a decoy. 10. Man captain, who is she? Who, how did you become free? Yua. I do not care whether you are on good terms or not. Eehee. I won't hide it, I'm Andy. San's second female slave, Selenium Smithson, and we both lost our virginities to each other. Selenium proudly shows off the collar. After seeing Jean discouraging with an uncomfortable face, Layla confirmed Diane's neck. There was no collar and Diane shook her head like affirming it. What is it that suddenly the eye contact has been completed in just a few seconds? That means there is another female slave besides this half-elf and this dark elf, yes. Boy, you're a better ladies' killer than I imagined. No, that, and Zeros, who has not entered into a conversation, is awkwardly burying her chin in her chin guard plate. What, is she also a female slave? The pecking order is lower than I thought. Other than Layla and Selenium, who muttered like they were amazed by shaking their heads, everyone looked at me with a frightened face. Please don't look at me. I don't understand how the flow became like this. No, I understand, but I don't want to think. Chapter 14. Black Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The water field became full of steam from the influence of Layla's fireball impacting on the water. I wear my clothes which Selenium brought me for the first time today. Oh, you are like a small fish, do not say small fish. Celesta Army Infantry uniform for the summer is a sunshade cloak good for travel, with plenty of pockets and leather straps attached, so you can hang and store a lot of things, so it is certainly wrong to say that it is a small fish, but when it is said, you will be denied. And. You seem to want to say a lot, of course. A frowning face mixed with Layla's fiery face and Diane's serious face, becomes a slightly dandy atmosphere. What are you? Why did you take Andy away, and what do you mean by that? I am the Black Dragon Layla. The last dragon of this dragon palace in Russell Labyrinth. It was a coincidence that this little boy came here. Because it accidentally was a human man, I wanted to eat him a little bit. Nobody or lid. Hey boy, you like a more romantic talking preference? No, it's okay, I cannot be bothered, it was so intense, so please read the air. Sorry, it's awkward, Layla. Layla and I are playing around, as the others stare at us with surprise. What's wrong? The questioning is over. No, I just thought you are over. Familiar. Diane clears her throat. Well, I didn't know that there is a dragon palace in such a place, and I don't know why, but other dragon palaces declare a rough territory to avoid conflict with other races. Even if you tried to know, there is only me, and this boy was the first one who broke into my place by breaking through my illusion. I don't quite understand it, but I guess it is a memorable first commemoration. I was very impressed with the fact that I was overcome by the fray of the illusion of such a half height. Moreover, it seems that I have been blown away by N-Zeros. Did the other dragons die? No, they went to the western continent 100 years ago. I was in a love at that time. You mean love in love? Even a dragon will be in love. Although it ended in tears as my partner was beaten to death. Even if you fight against a dragon slayer and keep being alive, other dragons were in danger. Dragon slayers are hunters specialized in killing dragons. They were terrible warriors who had the ability to fight dragons with treasured weapons of ruined civilization, which is rarely available now. There are few now. It was a considerable number of years ago. At first it was a swordsman's ability to test himself, which eventually evolved into a big movement to drive away the dragons and dragon palaces that contend with modern civilization from the continent, and the dragons became sharp. The dragon palaces in the continent shifted to an over-defense principle. When a dragon slayer comes alone, one of the nearby cities will become ash. If it is not near, it still burns anyway because it is good to have some distance. Although dragon slayers can fight dragons equally, they don't fight in groups. And dragon slayers also received the condemnation from other human societies, so they mostly put their weapons down, hide somewhere, or were executed. That's why that era was called the Fire Dragon War now. Since then human societies who remembered the horror of dragons sent a messenger to the dragon palaces, begging for forgiveness, and a modern social relation of mutual aggression was established. That's the reason that only speculators and adventurers can approach the dragon palaces now. But the fact that it was gone at that time was that there was a dragon that had been kicked out by a dragon slayer. Our dragon kind has a better relationship with neighboring ancestor colonies than other lands. With the Dragon's Alliance, one dragon slayer equals one city must be compiled, so we immigrated obediently because we don't want to kill the nearby colonies. Were you able to win if you fought? How many dragons do you think were in this palace? 600 head caped. Impossible. At its peak, there are 256 dragon slayers. In fact, I was almost like a child dragon who fought with an old dragon to the verge of death and wasn't a match at all. Diane shakes her head and shrugs her shoulders. But the person you fell in love with is a natural enemy, a dragon slayer, which is befitting for you. He was only a dragon slayer and quite a daunting man. I think that it was dangerous. I lied fairly as a female warrior of the flow, and we enjoyed our honeymoon for about 3 years. Layla has a distant look. Did her masochist preference have been brewed at that time? That's why there is only me. I felt down for about 50 years after killing him, then traveling for about a decade to change my mind. Recently I found a young Jean who was in danger in this palace and enjoyed to be with her. It was painful. Elder sister Layla. Old story. Tap, tap. Layla patted Jean's head. And after taking a breath of air, she laughed as if to shake off this air and turned to Diane. However, Diane, or how you are called, you are great for a dark elf without arms. I felt something close to the dragon slayer from the past. Even if it looks this way, I'm only a 100-man commander. That 10-man captain boy is totally useless at all. He isn't useless. Andy is capable. He is dexterous, kind and popular. The neighborhood is outstanding, good morals are pretty good. Diane and Layla nod. They have a mutual understanding. I wonder if something happened at their first fight. .00. Man commander, don't joke around. I'm not joking. There is a female dragon in front. Ho. I like this young girl. Bo, I don't like it. It was N0's who was tampered with first. By the way, where do you plan to go? There is the forest elf territory in the southeast, and it seems that there is a master knight who goes overboard with his privileges there. Why don't you say he is a hoodlum, Diane? As long as he is there, no one is safe. It is gotten to the endorsement somehow. I wonder if Diane is really so amazing. You have a worried face, boy. That, Diane, no matter how much you say, the opponent is a master knight, the most elite soldier of the Celesta army. And it's the enemy's territory, so I don't know how many people will be there who could surround you. If you are surrounded by thousands of people with Diane, you will be able to survive. So, apparently, it seems to be different when thinking that it is suitably said because of Layla. This woman's illusion magic is comparable to us dragons. A good evidence is that she has solved the illusion that I made and entered it. Besides this woman, there is that deformed bow of that little boy. It's a crossbow. Oh yeah, probably. Even if you shoot from a distance of 10 steps, probably, it will hit. After I saw the arrow flying. Lie. The injection power of a crossbow is stronger than an ordinary bow. 10 steps away from it, at most 7 to 8 meters. Do you try? Diane smiled with a grin. Stop, I cannot shoot if I think that it will be a joke. However. Then, Diane.san is mostly effective like firearms. If that's the case with her body and the illusion skills like a dragon, it will be possible for her to survive even if she opposes 1,000 people. When it is said, it seems to be sure to be able to do. If you're a Master Knight class, it will be that degree. It is not said that it is comparable to 100 squads alone in date. In other words, it is likely that the crossbow doesn't work against this opponent. I have a feeling that I don't need more. But, then, why did the crossbow team win against the Sword Saints Brigade? And Zero's murmurs. That's true. The Sword Saint Brigade was the strongest force that was led by 500 master swordsmen, 100 long. Swordsman, and the strongest swordsman Arthur Bonaparte. They were defeated by the crossbow corps, which was only 50 people at that time, and became the trigger to decide the winner and loser of the Trot War. It's a simple story, they did not see us. I did the most troublesome thing, that is illusion magic. In other words, when they noticed, the rain of arrows has already pierced them and they didn't know from where. The snipers from long distance overturned common sense at that time because of stronger injection power and sense strengthening. The sword saints fell to the ground in search of archers that should have been 100 meters away at most. In fact, the crossbow range is about 1 kilometer. In addition, I had borrowed ogres from other troops who are dedicated archers. I see, the crossbow's neck is a hassle to draw a bow. A strong string can be pulled only by using powerful men. But in our troop, the ogres and some dwarves can draw it directly by hand. This is strong. Being hit by rapid fire, the Master Swordsman Brigade had no chance to counterattack. You're having a pretty interesting fight. It wasn't interesting. This was the only way to stop the Sword Saint Brigade from Trot. I had no choice but to take a tactic that overwhelmed the number of swords that had been reversed in quality. Diane looks downward a little lonely. If you aim for a small number of deads, the battlefield rule is definitely not bad, though Celesta, who does not have such a brigade, cannot keep praising it, by winning that war. There was also the danger that the Half-elves Empire could attack Celesta unless we show our abilities. Besides, I did not want to let my subordinates die, so I couldn't use a tactic that would bring deaths, so I made a missile that destroyed the Sword Saint Brigade. Diane mutters in self-mockery. I'm selfish. Someone would make a fighting system that could slaughter us more unilaterally to combat the crossbow squad sooner or later. However, I still had to defend my area. Even now. I raid by force to protect my hometown. Sigh. I do not want anyone in my family to be killed, I just want to live happily, but it won't be forever, so the smallest best may be a bad war. To be honest, I thought that Diane was a genius at fighting, but on the other hand, I thought that there was a stupid part that could only drown in love. But even that. Drowning in love, even that attitude clinging to love. I thought that it might be on a single line of bloated fears and anxiety, which may be lost in how to use this talent during a fight. This person is too pure compared to the talent and appearance it has. If she becomes ugly and unrepentant, it can become balanced even if she becomes an evil one, but she can be stupid because she can only become seriously. However, her purity was deprived by me. Diane, I'm stupid and I can't tell you anything about talented people. But I think Diane isn't wrong and we can be protected by Diane's power and measures. That's why I think we are happy. Is that so? That's right. It may be more obstructive to overthrow history. Contrite what you did to help someone isn't to deny the value of helping. Maybe when we die, we'll be thankful that Diane was protecting us. I think of the moment when I die looking at the freezing stars somewhere like this desert someday. Even if I die because of Diane's false command, would I grudge her? I wouldn't. I will die to leave only a little regret in the place while thanking the fact that she will have tried to operate us safely until that moment. And aren't we trying to help someone, don't we? We're going to save the kidnapped people, the Oasis colony's future, and protect the minister. I'm sure it's not a mistake. I think it's worth helping. That is so. I feel relieved. Diane leaned against my shoulder. But don't let me imagine the moment you die. It's going to be painful. Even if it gets painful, I don't want to die yet. Lightly holding Diane's head, I gently tap it as Layla did to Jean earlier. Ho! What kind of atmosphere is this? Sorry. We are ridiculed by Layla and are peeled off by the angry Selenium. Well, I don't have anything to do with Diane, but there is a better way to go to the forest territory. Tomorrow evening, you'll be at the southeast end of the desert. That would be convenient. No matter how straight you walk, it takes 2 weeks to reach the nearest southern desert end. And we need to go further diagonally. Ho! Who are you going to be talking to? I am a black dragon. You're not going to lose when you fly in the sky with a dragon. We go out into the desert at night, from a hidden exit under the rocks of the desert. The sky, which was in a considerably high position from the Dragon Palace, is really near now. In fact, I would like to go to that forest territory, but if I want to stay by Andy's side, I have to close the Dragon Palace, and then I'm in trouble if the treasures fall into the hands of strangers, so I have to do a sealed work. That's why let's just send you today. Are you going to keep her? Are you going to keep a dragon as a soldier? Would you like to keep me? It is impossible. Well, then we have to keep saying something different. There is only one. What? This figure is nothing different from a strong woman who has a strong armor. It is a fun thing to keep a woman. I am jealous of showing off a collar. I wonder how far it is supposed to be a person for Layla. I will make my own part by next time. Selenium is staring at Layla. Layla swept away her clothes and parried her gaze. No matter how much you stare at my naked body, you can have it from now on whenever you want, as I won't disagree. Her naked body was exposed to the desert in the moonlight, and Layla extended her hands while spreading her hair in the gentle wind. Lie down, The moment the spell of Layla's whisper is heard, her naked appearance disappears. And, there is a momentary sense of consciousness flying, the next moment. Zuzan. Uo. Kaya. Cool. Obstructing the moon, a tall dragon about 10 times taller than a wyvern, appeared in the desert. Ho! You're not telling me to lie down. We can hear Layla's voice from the top of our heads as she landed on the ground, while the sand is flying. I didn't transform for a long while. I'm excited to fly in this moonlit night, so get on quickly. A black dragon with a tail. Maybe it's 50 feet from tail to head. The emotion of guilty of not having sex with such a legendary creature has sprung up now, and I was a little chilling. It makes me grateful if I get to it. Jean, please wait for me. I think I will be back in the day after tomorrow's dawn. 10. Man Captain, goodbye. Please come back again on your way home. I understand. I patted the teary Jean before I crawl on Layla's back. Next, to me, Selenium rushes up so that she skips me and Diane jumps up straight. It was only me and N-Zeros that climbed like cockroaches. You're not resolute, don't say that. I was just trying not to think about it. I climb up slowly and fix my body with a strap on a spine on my back just in case. Good, ho, then let's go. With a high-pitched voice, we bark in the desert. The black dragon faces toward the moon and flaps its huge wings, before rising slowly. But was it good to leave Jean alone? Well, I know the strength of that girl and she is more dependable than you, but that child is so small. What are you talking about? I guess she is already 25 years old. Lie. Jean is the same age as me. So she is older than me. And Zeros, were you younger than me? Why am I surprised to know that hundreds of meters above the desert are irrelevant in an emotional location? Chapter 15. Shortcut Selenium. Diane, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Illusion magic is basically a magic used for the purpose of deceiving. When it exceeds a certain precision, it becomes possible to manipulate a phenomenon which can't be done with just hallucination. Although it doesn't exist there, an invisible barrier can be made. Although there is certainly something that exists there, it is invisible. Even the magic that Diane's control, deceiving the flame itself, as the magic doesn't burn the wood, which is not a hallucination or that kind of problem. We dragons have gained the power to transform into a person by mastering that kind of magic. That's a face that doesn't understand at all. No, I understand it somewhat. To transform a giant dragon into a human being. I'm not sure if it is great. What Layla is trying to say is this. Diane picks up a piece of a dried fruit apple. Muttering only what she does, Diane let go of her hand and the dried fruit disappears. It's magic. This piece of apple is magical. Now it disappears while floating in the space in front of me. So, this is it. When moving her fingers over her hand, a piece of apple appears suddenly there. If you master this technique, you can also use the space around you instead of a toolbox. That's handy. We don't have to think heavily when we put baggage of a trip into a bag or shoulder bag. If I push it, at best it becomes palm size. Well, even ordinary elves can't even do that. It's a big deal just to imitate. Layla laughs. It is good to laugh, but her laughter echoes. This is it. Self-respect. So the terrible part of Layla's technique is that she can switch between her human form and dragon's form as she wants and changing her appearance. Ha, you have a face that doesn't understand at all. Boy, not really. I'm sorry, in other words. Like monsters, it is not a transformation of excitement, but it is just changing or revealing things of exactly the same existence value as it is, so there is no time limit or exhaustion in transformation. I have no idea how many control spells are running simultaneously. Is that amazing? It's amazing. It was a magic lecture that started because we had nothing to do during the flight. Apparently magical talent blossoms from the point of understanding such a theory and accurately imagining it. Apparently, I don't have any honesty understanding, so I have no idea. Well, about shooting a fireball in my human form, it's not magic to create fire, but just an illusion of my breath in my dragon form. A little, is that a real dragon's breath? Sigh, that's right. I knew only that I should not make Layla seriously angry. There is no sign of magic that seems to be used for the time being. And zeros. San that, you did it, Yua, how did I do this? It is still an elementary illusion, so if you use a little bit more energy it will come out. There is no regret that N0s was succeeding next to me. With a few toilet breaks, we certainly came close to evening and were able to fly to a place overlooking a city in the desert. Layla, The people are looking this way. They are pointing towards Layla. They seem to be shouting something and people are coming out from the surrounding houses one by one. I can see that they panicked looking up to us. I forgot to completely disappear. For the first time in decades I flew over the middle of a human town. Hey, illusion magic self-proclaimed expert, this is not good. I can't afford to fly a flying dragon. N0s, a flying dragon is the size to be eaten in one bite by this mouth. This is troubling, Diane and N0s think. Layla waits for a while to hear the strategy. And then she groaned a few words to those two who did not utter a word yet. Ho, it is okay even if it becomes a strange rumor here. I will be by Andy's side for about 100 years anyway. Layla. My lifespan is at most 50 years. It's not there, Andy. San, oh well, what shall I say? Diane, let's just clear the figure of the other three people and the owner better. Hey, Layla. Layla swirls to the west of the city. In the middle of the main street with the sunset behind, she landed vigorously. Agonizing cries, dragon. What? Did a foolish adventurer enter the dragon palace? Run. Run away. The people are escaping by themselves. The military police rush here and turn their spears at us with a pale expression. Layla transformed herself back into a human, confusing the people secretly hiding behind the alley. In the middle of the large main street, suddenly appears in the place where the dragon was, a black-haired naked beauty. The surroundings froze. Diane. If the dragon transformation isn't gigantic, is it okay even if she doesn't take off her clothes? Theoretically, Diane nods with an incomprehensible face. Why is she naked? It would be a hobby. It was a negligently answer to Diane's, don't ask me such a thing, but there was a strange persuasive power. And the pervert dragon that was naked exposed itself in the middle of the road. I'm the black dragon from Russell Desert. My name is Layla. It's not that an adventurer came or something interesting happened, so be relieved. Layla seems to be issuing a statement as it is. Damn it, wear some clothes. Because I will accompany a certain 10-man captain of the Northern Corps this time. The Dragon Palace in the Labyrinth is off-limits about 100 years from now. Therefore let the adventurers be disappointed because there's nothing to get. Hey. All who hears these words, as long as you know that it is good, spread it. Then I will be rude around here. The military police are sidle to Layla, who raises her hand, applying to her hips and gracefully raising her back. I wonder if a dragon's body is naughty like a normal nude woman. Ho! Will you play with me? It is incomprehensible to turn into a dragon. Is it magic of another country? So she is a dragon, Either way, you should be entertaining a little. Layla picks up a stick that was lying nearby. All right, hide your boobs. The gendarmes are delicately pretending to be poor. Well, let's forgive her as much as Rampage. Which one from us do you want? This, unfaithful. And Zeros held a fist for a while and was supporting the military police. It is certainly too irritating to ask only these words. Let's go, everyone at once, go, good, ho. That's fortitude, goo, bloodlust erupts from Layla's naked body. The military police who were trying to move in unison stopped their feet as they flinched. Those eyes are scary. Some people are trembling like they remembered the fear, and there is also a possibility of incontinence. Me. Layla knocked their weapons away before she jumped momentarily and kicked them all down. Layla is so strong, only Diane is a good match. But it is just a brush. Something is insufficient. The devotion, the spectacle too much was reversed, or it was thrilling, and a clapping applause was heard from the surroundings. Answering with a smile, Layla got a robe from the aunt in the clothing shop and settled down before she started to drink and eat. Absurd person, no, this is a matter of concern, Diane. A celebration arises when the gendarme who defends the citizens is knocked down and clapping occurs. As it is said by father, the military is privatized, and it is evidence that they aren't liked by the people. Diane took off the cloak, got out of the alley and urged us. Let's go, I got a reason to hurry. Nonetheless, it has been a while since we entered the desert labyrinth, and we are also concerned about the dust of the trip. On that day we lightly gathered information in the street and went to the inn as it was. It would be nice to drink alcohol. No, you're weak to alcohol, no matter if you are in the core building or on a horse-drawn journey, you fall to sleep after one beer each time you are tired and want alcohol. You can't. Night in the city I was looking forward to. I was banned from drinking alcohol, which I was looking forward to, as the southern alcohol should be great. For some reason we have not cherished our 2 full days. Have you forgotten? AAA, I think it's only 2 days, but I guess I'm wrong. Because when we were in the core building of Ba-sun, I had to open an interval a little longer. It is very regretful that you can't monopolize that woman. Surely, I promised that I would love you a lot before Diane. No, that's cunning. A promise is a promise. It is 6 times without pulling out. Andy, can you afford that? Now, I feel I can do it just for ejaculation, but that's not physically confidence. I thought of an interesting technique. Selenium takes off her clothes with a smile. I'm a little anxious, but there is no room for me to get away with the erection I have now when Selenium's boobs are colored by the flames of dusk and candles. First, Andy.san will ejaculate inside me. Don't say things like that in cooking class. It's a kind of atmosphere, otherwise, it won't start. Selenium protrudes above the bed. Already with a sense of expectation, a slimy liquid is overflowing from the clefts of her crotch. You were a virgin a while ago, but it became quite easy to get you wet. Hi, please don't hold on to people's ass in front of me. We did the same with no atmosphere. Can I put it in now? Of course. Good, then. Immediately, I take off my pants and take out my penis. I press my son against Selenium's protruding buttocks to determine the position lightly. N. It seems to be comfortable just by that. Selenium, Diane, who is bored, whispers so while rubbing Selenium's breasts. It's comfortable, right? It's only for Andy.san's penis, it's just for being pushed inside, just being pierced by your penis. Let me feel it in the back of my belly. I want ejaculation, but, yes, after all, I want you to ejaculate inside. After all Andy's sperm, my womb, I want you to use my uterus, moo, mew, you're an extravagant woman, Diane was stunned. No, I mean extravagant as in wishes, but I think she is quite wary. But Selenium's voice who mutters such words happily, let me push through the interior as soon as the feeling of the small labia is caught and not sparing the squeezing impulse of my son and letting me make a desperate face. Triple A. The narrow vagina greeted my dick pleasantly. The vaginal wall which was violated by me, again and again, doesn't show any behavior which opposes my approach any longer. It is natural to be pierced by me exactly and to say that the state that sucked me in is commonplace, it eats me tightly and does not let off. Coming. The promise is 6 times without pulling out. To be honest, my physical strength doesn't seem to continue so far apart from my erection. So it's bad for selenium, but I decided to give priority to my ejaculation. Without any patience, I don't see the reaction of selenium and continue my movement. However, selenium raised a delighted voice with such monotonous and haste movements expected as well and needed herself. Yes, aha. Sorry, I couldn't take, or more precisely, I couldn't hold it anymore, it's fine, this way, meet toilet, I love you. Selenium, hoo, I should have said, that I am your slave. Andy, it's okay, it goes well, whatever you want, I will be happy. My heart is also a slave that belongs only to Andy. San, right, even though I was selfish, although I was moving with my pleasure priority, I was gladly told such a thing though I couldn't withstand so long. Pathetic, in just a few minutes I dyed the inside of selenium's vagina milky white. Well, on, one time, I have a little breath, but I'm still fine. If this pace continues, I still can do it. I thought that, while I looked back and deposited my hips, selenium whispered something with a loud voice. Spell. It's a familiar melody. And. Oh. My and selenium's bodies glow at the same time. The breath which was disturbed, too, and the waist that movement a little became lighter momentarily for some reason. Medical treatment light magic, no way, selenium smiled as Diane said. Hoo. I absorbed sperm as it is and returned it to Andy. San, once in the vagina, it's a mucosa so it's impossible, right? No, but, why did you use medical treatment light magic, looking at N0's. San who succeed in illusion magic, when I first used magic for the first time I thought that the idea was more freely, so I tried hard for a while. And so you can keep going inside me 6 or 7 times, right? Oh, it is too much that I get cheerful on my own junk, but it is certainly alike that the body will be lighter than before ejaculation, as much as I can. I was pleased to resume the piston. Wait, tell me too. Selenium. Yeah. As it is, I came 13 times inside selenium in only 2 hours. Weak, I'm sorry, no matter how lightly I move, selenium kept returning my energies as it is. Instead of selenium, who became immovable, Diane sided with me. Although it was pulled out with a blowjob after ejaculating 14 times, what came out was only something transparent. I got it, this magic is missing something important. Selenium closed her eyes carefully as she fluttered down and let me discharge my semen without tightening her vagina. My fatigue. No, I don't want to say that to that extent, this is sucking up all the nutrition of your semen, so it is impossible to get pregnant. Selenium is really disappointed. Oh, I think I'm a little troubled even if I get pregnant here, or I think I'd better calm down a bit more. It's useless, Andy, sex is for making a child, even if there's no choice that can't be done as a result, there's no such thing as to spoil children that can be done, that's right, but it certainly might be a good idea to endlessly be loved. Selenium is immersed in a happy delusion. Diane was thinking while holding my dick for a while and urging me to insert it into her butt. She whispered to Selenium. After all, tell me, N.O.O.O.O.O. Please tell me, Diane, even if you do not desperately deserve it. I want you to just be endlessly ravished. These guys are all too much. Hahu, I will do it again. I am getting a little pain here. I am not bad. I forgot that Smithson is next room and it's bad to do forever. Hey, was it a strong dragon or a strange woman? No, that was a dragon, but it also was a beautiful woman. Her breasts, hips, and butt are great. I wonder if she can become my bride, but those eyes, I was really scared. I wet myself. Oh, me too, those glaring eyes. I ejaculated. Wait a moment, it was a dreamlike experience to be kicked by such a queen. Really wait. Chapter 16. Forest Capital Claves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. We landed at the border of the southern desert oasis and the forest area. It was a city called Helicon. Trees and land are small in this area, and the scenery such as wetlands, short forest, and lakes are spreading. The territory ruled by the forest elf seems to become a landscape closer to an ordinary mountain forest. Because this place is a place where many aquatic species live, there must have been several lizardman colonies. Lizardman. A very frightening race above ogres when saying by a demon appearance degree. But, it seems that there are ones who are rather clever and intellectual to be a merchant. There isn't one in our corps, but I have seen some in the infantry troops going back and forth to trot through the Viola Pass. Is there anything else that is related to the system? There is also a rumor that there is a merman or a water spirit for a while. Well, the spirit is a rumored story everywhere. I was able to hear that much yesterday night. What I am saying is that my hometown is not 100 kilometers away from here. As I surveyed a lot, I was pretty much walking around, so this neighborhood is like a garden. I know well. Diane throws out her chest. Was it so near to the oasis colony? So, how far is it from here to the forest elf territory? 3 days in a carriage to enter the territory and 3 more days until the state capital Claves. So far 2 weeks have passed. As a result, we have taken a shortcut of almost a week. It is easy for us to return home after coming back to Layla's Dragon Palace or the Ox.Ogre colony. Well, Layla, will you go home properly? I don't know. Hey, Jean is waiting for you. You don't want Jean to be lonely. Andy, your devotion for that dwarf girl is great. I don't know the meaning of Diane's scornful eyes. I wonder if she is watching such a small child as a rival. No, although Jean is certainly small, she is at the same age as me. No way. Not good. As an adult you need to have self-control. As a lolicon you will be beyond salvation. Besides, I'm not a lolicon nor a pedophile. I certainly think that her face is cute and it was a bit of fun to have her follow behind like a chicken, but that is a sense of seeing a niece to the end. How much of a sexual desire do I have in Diane's incarnation? That, you mean. Hey, Diane and Selenium are looking down a little with a red face. It reminds me of the night. No, that is supposed to be the affection courtesies in the agreement that was requested. It's just extra cardiac to be treated like a wild beast. We only traveled through the desert labyrinth with Layla to save transportation expenses. That's why we traveled smoothly with a horse-drawn carriage without any shortage. However, when it came time to enter the elf territory, problems had arisen. We will arrive at the gate where they will do an inspection, so please visitors, be prepared for it. We are told by the coachman to gather our bags. It is a remnant of a semi-independent territory that there is a barrier, or rather, the Omen trying to become an independent country. Anyway, because there is not so much guilt, we wait for the inspector to board comfortably. Excuse me, please open your bag. 2 or 3 inspectors ascertained us, passengers, one after another, and sometimes open a bag to find out if anything suspicious is inside. What I have is a dangerous thing, a crossbow, but I think this is an excuse. This is a crossbow, as you can see. Do you use it for hunting? Well, yes, it's an ordinary gift. I thought I could improve its performance here by studying the engraving technology of the elves. Indeed, the capital city of Claves is a sacred place of magical engravings. I think that it is not something that humans can learn overnight, but by the time you get home this gift will be good. I hope so. The inspector doesn't like human soldiers somehow and haughty attitudes. We are supposed to be a mere traveler to the last. Regardless of me and N0's, if Diane mentions her title, we should be able to silence the inspector, but that would be bad. We must declare that Diane isn't here as a 100-man commander but as a dark elf. The face is more important than old towns and colonies. Although it is accepted to return with an army if attacked by an army, as long as we are protesters from the dark elf colony, the reason does not stand. When Diane decided so, we, her companions, mustn't announce that we are soldiers. That's why both N0's and I are supposed to go soloing while properly dodging. What is that armor? In a carriage like this, a child is playing a swordsman, N0's is expressionless. But Diane and I are a little nervous as the inspector ridicules N0's. You also want to refine that sword. Is this a normal short sword? Well, in the hands of a child, a long sword is just a useless long object. Why are you silent? Even as an elf, we have the right to arrest you. I wonder what happened to your attitude when you would be arrested for offending so much. N0's gauge has accumulated. In any case, it is considerably stimulating N0's sense of justice that the soldiers do such a punk imitation at any rate from the physique. This is not good. And, before N0's could make a move, a tall man appeared from the back seat of the carriage suddenly and refrained N0's. Oops, I'm sorry. This is my armor. What yours? Do you agree with saying that? I'm a wandering mercenary. It was a 40-years-old man. He certainly has a good physique peculiar for N0's armor, and there was a burnt smell atmosphere characteristic of those who were used to battle. Mercenary. What is your name? Well, how in Terry Bogard? How in, what? Are you stupid? You. The old man named Terry is grinning and looking down at the inspector. I would like to bully the arrest rights to other kids like this. I think I'm a good adult. Can't you just forgive me for being a kid? Terry, provisional, strokes the head of N0's. His arms are long. And the stroked N0's was so surprised to say that she was shocked or being sucked by sudden sideways spears. One of the inspectors, the fellow who was at stake with N0's, tried to intimidate by pulling his sword out of his waist, but the other inspector controlled him. He seems to be able to understand that this uncle is likely to be considered strong. Excuse me, there certainly was a problem with his behavior. Be careful. I understand well. The old man strokes N0's head and the subsequent examination progressed smoothly. After the horse-drawn carriage began to move, the old man caught sight of us and smiled to N0's and Diane. It was an extra care, no. I'm grateful. N0's keeps her right fist on her left chest while sitting. Celesta's military salute. Wait, isn't he a mercenary? Commander Diane, you still have great boobs. You seem to be a blithe guy as ever. Diane kept smiling while holding her arms folded. Acquaintance. Selenium and I were surprised, but Diane smiled and closed her eyes only. A former subordinate, Sieg Becker 100-man special duty commander and ace knight. He was also an examiner at my ace knight test. As N0 said, the old man who lied to everything waved his hand without jerking. It was a story I heard from Minister Ashton when I gathered information. It was unexpected that you guys would cross the desert so quickly. Indeed, my father sent you. Not bad. I noticed, Commander, when I was riding the carriage, so I looked around to do something to get your attention. Can you keep going out to your good skill to get rid of the sign? Come on, don't say such a thing. This old man is joking, but he certainly wore such a burning smell, which I did not notice until now. It is a good contrast to N0's to say that it is an obligation to stand out when saying, ace knight. Selenium and I shudder a little by looking at his face. 100-man Commander Becker suddenly turned towards us and looked with suspicious eyes. By the way, who are these guys? I heard that Commander Diane and 10-man Captain and Zeros will come. Diane kept silent. And Zeros came up with a good way to explain it, by forestalling someone who tried to open his mouth, but Selenium who hugged me talked. I am Selenium, this Andy.San's female slave. It seems to be soulful that Diane plays a brace in front of her former subordinate. If Diane keeps silent to the 100-man commander, it is said that at least the next few days until the problem is resolved we won't flirt with each other. The calculation which is demonstrated in such places is a little amazing. But Diane is calmly unconcerned. Andy Smithson. My current subordinate and lover. I'm going to give birth to his child, she fought back perfectly. What? 100-man Special Duty Commander Becker is taken aback. And then. Commander. I proposed to you so often. I had confidence as I was a handsome guy 20 years ago. Moreover, I'm an ace knight for 12 years. Was that so? Even so, why such a guy? Don't say something like this, to my lover, why is it such a person? You should have married a woman who can be lured with your sword arm and face. I wonder if she was drunk. Boo, but this guy looks so weak. Captain Diane can't be protected by him, correct answer. You think I can't protect myself? That's right, this guy already has a woman. Yes. About 2 others. What's wrong with that? I am the only one for the captain, there is no gap from morning till night all the year around, even if you keep peeping, you just peeped in from that time, do you think that a woman's liking can be earned with it? Overkill damage to me who is good at peeping. But didn't Commander show herself to me? It's fine to see what I'm showing, but it's pretty bad to be peeped at when you don't show anything, so why are you not getting married? This man, he must have peeped awkwardly. In the toilet or while Diane was sleeping. Why are you looking so annoyed, and Zeros? Leave me alone, Smithson. 100-man Special Duty Commander Becker strikes me with a serious bloodthirsty smell. Damn it. Damn it. I don't think that there is a night with only one moon, youngster. Am I at fault? Commander Diane is my goddess, I do not think she will let you die, but if you're dead she will be free, so let my hand slip under your throat. Wait, I'm scared of this person. Becker. If you have that indication, I will fight you with all my strength. Hey, I abruptly wet myself seeing 100-man Commander Becker. This way. Oh, you've always wanted to go out with this guy, youngster, what are you talking about? 10 seconds ago you. The teary eyes of this 40-year-old uncle are seriously disgusting. Being conscious. I'll introduce myself again. 100-man Special Duty Commander Sieg Becker affiliated with the Celesta's Army Intelligence Brigade. My weapons are knives and traps. Single, 39 years old, human, ace knight. I always wanted her, knives and traps. I've never heard of such an ace knight. Ace knights usually use swords or spears, and if it is one of the powerhouses, they fight with a hammer or an axe alone against 2 platoons and crush them. Still you can be an ace knight, and Zeros explains it. Although it is subtle when it is a sword holy test, the condition of an ace knight is to break through Iwashima Labyrinth in the vicinity of Kika alone. You will be forced to fight simultaneously with several rock dolls and immortal monsters, but extreme talk is if you can do it anything will be fine, really. This guy is the only one in the history of ace knights, who has cleared the attacks of all monsters with 0 kills by escaping from their eyes and passing the exam. I don't really know if it's amazing or not. Of course I could defeat them if I tried to defeat them. I have confidence that I can fight even if I face 10-man Captain and Zeros. Really? Don't doubt, little boy. Hey, and Zeros testify, actually, I absolutely cannot win, lie. And Zeros, she certainly can't be compared to Layla or Diane, but I still know that she is a fighting power not to be ashamed of the name of Ace Knight. That and Zero's was absolute. With a knife. Knives and traps, how you see it is an adventurous family line. It is a compliment not to have said that I'm a thief, but you are too suspicious. 100. Man Special Duty Commander Becker folds his arms while making a sigh. Fine, he put a finger on his elbow and his figure disappeared. Opening my eyes. A knife is thrusting against me from behind, in its sheath. Yes, that's enough, Ma, magic. It's not magic. Is it possible for 12 ridiculous humans to use magic? He just moved in the usual way. Becker is equal to me if it's just foot speed. Are you serious? Matching Diane. In other words, he is the type of person who doesn't work with firearms. The espionage that disappeared with illusion magic became common sense now. It is the key to the counterintelligence, where the magic users who can destroy the illusion are placed in the important position of the information brigade. Then, a guy like Becker comes alive. He's an expert at sneaking into every difficult place without any illusions, to derive information and kill or rescue people. To Diane's military comment, 100. Man Commander Becker smiled and returned to his original position, satisfyingly supplementing while juggling with a knife. As expected, you disappeared when you fought 3 Ace Knights in the exam, so you can't be promoted to being a Master Knight. But it seems that there are many useful aspects anyway. Well, if you don't help people you are just a peeping monster. Diane. Please forgive me, your words are too hard for me. I don't understand. I guess I can't understand. It is a story before I meet Diane and it was told when I was drunk. The wagon proceeds as it is and we arrives at the capital Claves 3 days later. Even if it is the capital, it doesn't give off the feeling of a city. It is a feeling that it is an old rural town which is suitable for the summer heat rather than a forest with stone houses dotted in it, between the mountain slopes. However, it is to the extent that this city will not be interrupted no matter how far it goes. For the forest elves, this is a city. They don't get as close as humans and they don't often find it inconvenient to remoteness each other's distance because they are living long. I see. I'm going to do something different than you guys who are going sightseeing today while I collect evidence of the Master Knight from the shadows. Why? Will you be fine? Everything will be okay. I will start the work from tomorrow, together with Becker, so I will be fine. Diane said that and parted in front of the hotel in the city center from us. We try to go sightseeing because there is nothing else to do. I don't think there's any more elf city to come. That's right, and Zeros also came along. Selenium said that she will stay at the hotel, so it was only the two of us. By the way, and Zeros, to not cause any unnecessary misunderstanding, has left her armor at the hotel. She is in her girl mode after a long absence, even letting her long hair down as it is. However, it is the first time for me to be in an elf city, so it still feels exclusive to me. No one is going to look after us. I guess it can't be helped. I'm a half-elf. Ah, is that so? I do not know the difference between elves and half-elves at all, but they seem to be obvious to themselves. Half-elves are persecuted in the human cities of Trot, as they can't differ from real elves, but here they are clearly seen as something dirty. I see. That's why Selenium didn't want to come with us. Ah, indeed, Selenium is also half-elf. Moreover, there is the past that Apple and she were rejected in the forest of the northern elves near Polka, too. It would be predictable to see what kind of eyes the elves show to half-elves. Would you like to go home, and Zeros? No matter what you want to do, I am fine. Hey Smithson, let's go over there. It was a splendid building that Zeros pointed to. The letters are in elf language which I can't read. What is it? You said at the gate that you want to learn something. Here we are, the Crest Engraving Research Institute. I see, engraving. It is a technology that can increase or decrease the strength of something, easy to cast magic and difficult to hit by carving a crest which is magically easy to apply magic. This technology is often used on things that aid in magic such as amulets or for example the crossbow stock which can be processed to make it more responsive to Diane's magic. Yes, as we are tourists. Would you like to have a daily experience? Ah, yes, they had a good course right now so we applied for it. And Zeros also passed something like a feather pen to me somehow and we went to the back. Well, today's lesson is, 3 people. Ah, Rennie.san and the others, have not come today. Do we start the course? It seems that Rennie.san is the elder sister of the elf receptionist. The lecturer confirmed her absence many times and started the lecture. Well, today we have an elf, a half-elf and a human, what a rich variety, but, the engraving is a technology that doesn't matter any race. Only the pen for engraving is necessary to manufacture it with magic technology, but the crest engraving can be done by any race and the creativity depends on the person's talent perhaps. All elves have a talent for magic, but the engraving itself is a technology that is even said to have an outstanding talent for dwarves. However, due to the technology be linked to magic, a lot of people who aren't good at magic have to give up before the challenge, so even if they have the talent, they do not have to bloom, so the excellent engraving is very rare. I have a pen here, for you. And you. You can say that you have externals a great first step. In the near future, your name might be known for crest engraving. Although this lecturer is an elf, he isn't obsessed with the supremacy of elves, or rather relieved as a type with some longing for foreigners. I don't want N-Zeros to feel awkward. Yes, then, first of all, the basics of engraving, anti-clockwise is the absorption, clockwise is the ejection. If you don't understand this alone, remember that it will be important in the next steps, 10 minutes later. Oh, this is interesting. Thus, in this way, put the joint cut here, SM, Smithson. I have no idea what you're doing, I was completely obsessed with the charm of engraving. It is possible to change the characteristics of an object simply by drawing a crest, the degree of freedom and strength of the force is proportional to the denseness and the sense of an ant is unbearable even if the infinite number of possibilities spread further depending on the shape of the object to be written. So like this, hey, N-Zeros, what is this parchment shield? Come on, try to punch it with all your might, Hurry. Yes, gone, and Zeros' punch landed on the parchment. It hurts, no way. On calculation, this parchment doesn't wrinkle even with a hammer as much as you hit it from the table. Well, if it is from behind, I could break it with my fingers. Smithson.san, that lecture, this work is super good, did you write this crest in 15 minutes? Without a draft. The lecturer also has shining eyes. Am I doing quite well? Would you please, do not get so excited. And the elf student who remained silent then stood up with a gutter. This papyrus blade is much better. A crest was drawn precisely on a ribbon made with papyrus, when she shook it, it stuck on her desk. Ah, what a wonderful day. There are 2 excellent crest makers today. You can't afford to lose to humans with elf technology, my opponent is a red-haired female elf. Her competitive spirit seems to be strong. But I am a well-known art master in a company, if the start line is the same, will we go to lose? Well, it's enough to make belts and metal accessories for my core members. Okay. A match, scratch, elongation parchment. Scratch, papyrus shield. Scratch, transparent parchment. Scratch, bouncing papyrus. We engraved to the limits of creativity and paper on hand. I used parchment in the worth of 10 days' lunch. Yes, that's it for today. If you are able to do this far in a one-day experience, please continue to study. When combined with magic, more possibilities will spread. Smithson.san, and Angelina.san please cooperate with each other to make various things, N-Zeros. Well, she's not willing to cooperate because she seems to have a magic talent. Cooperate, making various things. Shameless, different, I don't know what to make with that shorty. If it coalesces with me it will surely be amazing. No, because we are tourists. Well, why don't you stay in the hall for a while and study together? You can review that small human. Again Smithson, don't say again. It seems that somehow it was thought at the end of a fierce battle. The elf girl bowed gracefully. I'm sorry, I didn't tell you my name. I'm Dior's daughter Aurora. She then smiled and raised the papyrus sword that she had just made to pray in front of my face. That pose. I was appointed to being an ace knight the other day. Again, Smithson, what's up? Commander Diane, where are you going? It's a good place to be too conspicuous to walk in the street of the Dark Elves. No problem, I will go to an acquaintance. It's the colony leader, it's a man named Dior. Do you know each other? Are not you really in the middle of the storm? A long time ago, there was a little. That man is the father of the Master Knight. I want to know the true meaning of this provocation. Chapter 17. Red-headed siblings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As I had so much fun, I bought a pen for engraving and visited a shop in the Research Institute. And I was frustrated by the price so that my eyeballs seemed to pop out. My salary for 3 months. Well, cheer up Smithson, my monthly salary isn't that high. The reason is that the deduction rate is large. My nationality is still that of Trot. And in the document registration, I'm listed as a migrant, so it is a story that it is out of the scope of things like military profits that are issued by each commerce chapter in the country. It seems that it is quite self-expensive in a small part. It is somewhat depressed compared to other 10-man captains. I can lend you, you have a cheap salary, yup, and Zero's is similar. Well, she doesn't go out drinking often like me and is going to save money, but that does not mean that her hobby isn't expensive. I will give up this time. If I save money then I will go buy it again. If you ask 100-man commander about it, she can make something similar. That's right, Diane is having an amulet stock, so it's possible to do that, but no, well, that smells strange as well. It's there, I want to prepare it by myself without relying on Diane who has the hobby of tool making. I'm likely to come here again someday. Please wait. As and Zeros and I try to leave the Engraving Research Institute, we are stopped by the elf girl from earlier. I was curious since a little while ago, but your name, it sounds familiar. That short young lady. Don't call me Shorty. I'm sorry, you don't seem to be a mix even if I say half. My father is a northern elf. I'm from Trot, I see, so that means, as expected. You're sword slashing and Zeros, right? Sword slashing. Such an incredible nickname. No, noisy. Don't mock me. I think it is cool, is not it? Sword slashing. You will regret this later, Smithson, and Zeros is dreadfully embarrassed. Because of sword slashing. I can't understand her. I heard that you're the man in rumors, a little mistake in registration. You're a clumsy girl. I'm not a clumsy girl. I just couldn't say something. You have really tampered readily to the first meeting. Without relying on physique and high mobility in magic, without using martial arts, I heard it's a pure swordsman who fights only with sword skills. The rumored ex-master swordsman candidate, ex-master swordsman candidate. A female half-elf, who isn't a master swordsman, because she said she can't be a master swordsman. I see. It sounds like something coming from Trot. It is certainly a bad part of the Trot and I am a bit angry. The same type as I. A rare ace knight that can fight elegantly with just the sword. I wanted to meet you someday. Have you received such evaluation? It is not only rare, there are many types of swordsmen like me, but Celesta is a crucible of races and the exam to break through the labyrinth is too rough. Humans can hardly use magic and aren't blessed with physique. Natural, if you are going to build up as a warrior from there are no otherwise martial arts except finding a good way to battle with the most popular battle skill and swordsmanship. It is even more so when the Master Swordsman exam is held in front of the public. However, it is not so for Celesta's various races like lizard men, dark elves, dwarves, ogres and beast men. If your sword skills are insufficient, you can compensate for it by magic, and as an ogre or a dwarf you can appeal the power of Ace Knight by power. Of course, a battle style that overwhelms opponents with extraordinary speed is also allowed, like in Diane's or Becker's case. To be versatile means that the meaning of becoming a serious swordsman on the other hand of the textbook is also thin. Ace Knight, I think that there should be elegance that is appropriate for someone to be called the star of the battlefield where life is disturbed. I am pleased that there was a swordsman like you before me, nevertheless, I can't feel such a style from you who isn't wearing a sword. It is often said that there is no dignity, so I don't think anything now, because your impure Aurora has an eye for inferior animals. Which doesn't mean that Aurora isn't especially bad. All the elves here look like that. It might be a local pattern. Common awareness rooted in a land is not what individuals can oppose, no matter what it is. However, still, I can't forgive her for making a fool of half-elves like N0s. Wait, it doesn't matter, right? Smithson.san, however, she is an odd person who isn't a complete elf or human. Uncertain of her bloodline and unskillful at engraving, if she doesn't overcome me as a swordsman, then your partner. Therefore it doesn't matter. If you want to win with something other than your own effort, do it. N0s is a good guy and she's working hard. It's not the result of your effort that you're pure-blooded, and I don't like those who measure the world. Don't make a fool out of a half-elf. If you call yourself the star of the Celesta's army, please understand the best part of Celesta. Smithson.san, Smithson, I went too far, sorry. Then, with a little shrunken Aurora, I pulled N0s, who looked down by her hand and left the Engraving Research Institute. Celesta is a nice place, whatever, from a bush to a stick, open cafe for tourists. N0s and I drink tea when N0s suddenly said so. I was worried of her because she had been looking down since a while, but I feel like she hasn't received mental damage as I thought. She is smiling. Celesta welcomes any race. I was admitted as an Ace Knight, too. I'm proud of that generosity. Yes, I think that it is very important that any kind of race can live freely. What's wrong with that? Thank you, Smithson, for defending me. I was happy. N0s keeps staring into my eyes firmly and smiles at me. I felt unbelievably hot in my ears. N0s in a feminine figure makes a clean smile like a girl on the open cafe where sunlight passes through trees. Just because of that alone, though it is the face I've been looking at so far, it looks somewhat terribly lovely. Well, I hate persecution just because you're a half-elf. Like selenium and apple, that's right, it's kind of nice. Smithson, what's wrong with you? Suddenly starting to say something cute. See you, cute, what? N0s turns red from my reply. As usual, she is weak to a bit of compliment. The surroundings are watching. It is not only elves, because it is a place for tourists and their gazes on N0s aren't contempt. Some of them were absolutely admiring the loveliness of the bashful N0s. You come, what? Do you not want to stop dressing as a man? It's a bit wasteful. You, saying this at this timing is foul play. What? At the edge of sight, an elf man stares at N0s and leaked a sigh. A charmed glance of that red-haired elf man. Did he fall in love? Understandable. When we got back to the hotel, Selenium came up with a letter and a strange face. The room service left this here earlier. What? Is it addressed to Diane or 100. Man Commander Becker? No, it is addressed to N0s, me. N0s receives the letter. Cutting the seal and open the parchment that was rounded, she can't read it. Elf language. It looks like, I am not so good at reading that. Shall I read it? Selenium points to herself. Are you good at it? Fairly well, but letters to others are somewhat fun. It's kinda bad taste. However, N0s looks back and forth between the first and second line, handed over the parchment to Selenium after a while. Hoo. Dear 10.man Captain N Zeros, I would like to forgive my incompetent sentences initially. I wonder, don't mind it. Continue, how do you find the air in Claves? I think that the winds of Claves filled with trees and fresh water are better for you who inherit the blood of an elf than the dry air in Celesta. Somewhat disgusting, it seems to be a local, who sent it, right? I guess there is no one other than Aurora who knows about N0s, maybe she wants to apologize. I will read more. This time, especially the beautiful flowers are violets on the banks of the springs in the south of the southern street. The beauty of those flowers blooming on one side is worth spending the day just by loving it. Your beauty that can't be decorated is like a flower blooming secretly under a rock. I doubted my eyes when the beauty of violets appeared in the shape of an elf. Really, what is this? It seems not to be from Aurora. There is no reason to praise me as beautiful. Now that you mention it, it is said that the atmosphere seems to be disgusting as a whole drift and the odor written by a man by himself. Praising you, I would run out of paper and time just by that. I haven't told you the impression I felt in a minute yet, but I would like you to allow me to move on to the matter. Never mind that, continue. I agree. I know that your 100.man Commander Dark Elf has something to say, so I hope that things will settle without getting too rough, depending on the Dark Elf, and that my father and I want to trust the reliable Southern Army Corps. Hey, and Zeros, and I nodded. This is. I want to spend a while talking with you before things change so much. I would like to invite the colorful flower called you to an evening party hosted by me, who is the sender. And Zeros said it with a stiff voice. Lucas is written, Kai. Where did he see me? Hey, and Zeros, who is he? You haven't heard that we are originally out of the number of members. It's a bit lonely, but it's true that I'm not useful for this trip. General Lucas, Master Knight, one of the purposes of this trip, what does such a guy want from you? Who knows? To read this blurred sentence, he seems to be somewhat obsessed with me. He is a man who takes out a large amount of female ogres and dark elves originally, so what are you thinking? And Zeros stood up with a stiff expression and packs her long hair up with a sharp finish. She bundles it in a casual way like a rope, and then wear her armor from above. 100.man Commander have been ambushed. I don't think it's a rarity, but what happens if the opponent's biggest force, General Lucas, turns into that? If I can do that, I have to get her out. And Zeros. There is no telling what danger there is. Smithson, you will wait. Selenium, the place of the evening party, where is it? Around the middle of the North Street, where there is a big tree. It is just around the corner. It says that you will understand from the street immediately. Is that so, Smithson? What? Thank you very much for earlier. More than anything else than this letter, the person who told me that I'm cute was much more delightful. And Zeros, I am also an ace knight. You heard I'm called sword slashing and Zeros, so you don't have to worry. And Zeros smiles. I can only bite my lips on my inability. I know that I'm useless. But if I can do something to become useful, I should follow the fully armed and Zeros. Not good, Andy.San. It's like saying you're a suspicious person. Selenium, yes, wear the hood and close the cloak properly. Let's get off this route and chase from the next street. You are a nice, what are you saying? I am a competent female slave who minds her master's thinking any time. Together with Selenium, we walk through the city by following N0s. Chilly. Up to now, it was a journey that had a sense of almighty. We who aren't protected by Diane are so sensitive. But still, I could not just wait to hold my knees at the hotel. Real thing, Master Knight, I couldn't even imagine such an unknown threat that had never been turned into an enemy, and I saw the rest of the sunset fading away across a gentle hill. Chapter 18. Master Knight Lucas, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Following N0s, through the forest city wrapped in dusk, we finally confirmed the residence of General Lucas from among the trees. Since N0s is too small, I can hardly find her even if she walks in the street. Is that so? It is easy to understand because the elves around here will react so much when they see N0s. How did it become such an odd search? It's normal, it's basic to explore surrounding anomalies rather than actual things when searching. I see. she went inside. What shall we do? Wait a moment, check the means once more or less. I put my knees on the side of a dimly lit stone, which I think is magical, but it might be crest engraved, and confirm it in my hand. It is a habit after entering the army. First of all, the crossbow. The maintenance of this is perfect. Then the arrows. 14 pieces. There's less to say about fighting something, but it is enough as luggage for a journey. I can't afford to carry too much. Therefore a knife. Blade length 12 centimeters. It is convenient for work and outdoor cooking, but it isn't good as a weapon. I just confirmed that there is a thin rope. This is too useless for a fight. Becker said that he is good with traps, so he might be able to catch 3 thieves with this rope. I wish I had learned that kind of thing. Flint. Meaningless. Oil. For firing. This is meaningless too. Hard bread. Just emergency food. Bamboo water bottle. I was indebted to it in the desert Great Labyrinth, but now it not good. S-shaped hooks. Several. Handy tool. The rest. I feel something uncomfortable in my vest pocket and pull it out. The drawstring that came out was made of a fine cloth. When I opened it, a large red stone was inside. Ah, danger, Layla's hidden treasure, the sealed fire breath. It is something that burns the hellsbore with one shot when throwing it. Although it was handed over to support Jean, I didn't use it at that time, so I missed the opportunity to return it and carried it with me till now. If this is the case, it may be useful at times. What is that? Layla's dragon breath is sealed inside this stone. Yuwa, Selenium smiled bitterly. It reminded me of Layla's phrase at the time of magic lecture this time, and it seems that it was transmitted as an obscene item. Let's bet on this if anything happens to N0s. I stored everything again and explored the state of N0s. N0s who entered from the front entered into a mansion after arguing with a good-looking elf, a butler or something, who was at the entrance. Shall we follow? Can you bring us closer? Leave it to your almighty female slave. When the chest is tapped in a little theatrical tone, Selenium points to a space in front of the entrance and chant a spell with a low voice. I had the feeling that the back of my brain is shaken for a moment. After that, Selenium pulled my hand and slowly walked towards the door. Hey. No problem, and Selenium, who smiled at me, suddenly disappears. Quickly, looking at it, only her wrist protrudes from empty space. And my hands are pulled. It is an illusion of spatial designation. When a body is wrapped directly with an illusion, people who do notice are noticed. During infiltration, it has a short-lived effect, stretching in a stepping stone and walking around. You can really do a variety of things. I studied on the way of searching for Andy.San. Selenium, puffed up with pride, is in the illusion zone. Anyway, the illusion that Selenium casts on us was camouflage, and we advanced through the mansion. It's quiet to say that it's an evening party. With that kind of letter, he can call N0s. San, alone, and say it's just for you, Yuwa. Possible. It is a powerful person who is general class, and it is an unpleasant feeling that he is a pretty shaped elf. If Andy.San says it, I will be entranced. Tonight is a night party for you and me. Let's love each other like the moon goddess gently. You are the only one. I don't want to imagine myself saying slurpy lines like that. Well, Diane.San will probably be entranced, too, right? I'm sure Apple will be the same, just the 3 of you. I don't know Layla, but that dwarf girl is going to be entranced too. That's enough. Going seriously. There was a hall where it had progressed for a while in the mansion. We confirmed that N0s had entered there and also entered there on the back of the wall at the entrance of the room. If you make an illusion in a place where you can be seen through, it is not confident that you can deceive that big swordsman, but if you look far from here will be fine. Okay, peer through the wall with Selenium. Sure enough, I was prepared for a buffet party, but there was no one except a man and N0s. There was a red-haired elf. He is very pretty. And the feeling I have is that he is younger than me. Master knights are the most exquisite and usually, are older, so it is uncomfortable, seeing such a young elf. Thinking about it, I feel Diane is also younger than me. Therefore I'm sure this guy is quite old too. Welcome, and zeros.san, in our flower green capital Claves, and to my evening party. I will meet you first. Northern Army, no, and zeros with her eyes staring at him, trying to bid up a military salute. This shouldn't be a battle between soldiers. To the end, and zeros is here as Diane.san's personal acquaintance. I'm the child of Northern Elf Aaron and Trot Merchant Linda Newman. And zeros, I saw you in a form that doesn't hide your femininity before. This attire is a little surprising for an evening party. Those who have lived with a single martial art, because of the journey, don't have anything to decorate gaudily. Even so, it's quiet for an evening party. I was struck by your beauty in town earlier, and it is a party that I held suddenly because of time. I have no chance to let my friends know. I want you to forgive me for that. Even so, I welcome you, so let's have a cup of tea, which is the pride of Claves's elves. Thank you, and Zeros smiles lightly. She seems to restrain herself. It is a real elf and a high proud executive who had continued refusing the trade. While ruling out the signs to seduce, the rude behavior was also shown in the hall. Well, the thing that you came here, I thought you could understand most of the situation. Casual being tampered in the streets, then this outfit is resistant. It's a little bit of a nuisance to keep your heart stubborn. Well, what the summary is saying, it's somewhat esoteric to the bone. Braiding body, it isn't a difficult story, it is a story that even a child knows of a Claves woman. General Lucas put his hand on N0's chin. That dark elf woman. First and second steps are the soldiers and the cavalry, which were the core even at the fighting force of the Southern Corps, and I thought that it was too much for a 100-man commander without a knight class. Even that troublesome ace knight Sieg Becker came and followers here, her subordinates are elite. There are few ace knights under her. None of them is a master knight's instrument in the future, they probably will hunt a dragon. In addition, the archer corps aren't affiliated with the army. For her, probably for the girls who have been borrowed from the Oasis colony, she was thrown away by Ashton. Lucas smiled. But as long as I have no indication, I have been given strict orders not to take her life. She's the pawn of Ashton, depending on how I can use her, I thought. But I changed my mind. Lucas suddenly robbed N0's lips. N0 moves away, while Lucas is still smiling. If you become my wife, I will let that dark elf go. Originally dark elves are my father's hobby, they are such dirty creatures, breaking them up and let them fall, as they will become corpses if they won't accept some skinship. Oh, I'm surprised. A proud forest elf says that he wants a half-elf as his wife, and Zeros rubs her lips so that blood comes out. Lucas seemed a little disgusted to that outright attitude but immediately returns to his original confident grin. Although you're my seventh wife, your life is guaranteed in this elven forest. You are in luck. Unfortunately I don't want to live in this elven forest, as I don't think that I will be admitted. Don't forget the joy of being held by a nobleman when vulgar blood enters. This is Celesta, a country of business and tolerance, there is no nobility. And Zeros finally puts her hand on her sword. Cuckoo. Lucas gently takes the small sword that is hung on the wall. When he swung it, the table which was a few meters away suddenly became 2 in sudden. It goes ahead of the shock wave of N0's, it is a slashing wave. N0's face color changes when she sees it. Lucas is looking down on N0's satisfactorily. This is Claves, this is my world, here is the strongest and highest existence. Me. Lucas approaches N0's. N0's retreats a few steps and has felt that there is something odd when running away, biting her lips and pulling out her sword. I think that beautiful people are worthy. A fine sword is pushed out casually. N0's dodges it with her body, but a part of her waist armor flew away. My father is charmed to the dark elves, who are like monsters, but I don't feel their beauty. They're only dirty. But you are beautiful, even though you have mixed blood. A few more sword slashes approach. N0's can't avoid them, plock plock asterisk and fittings are blown away. You're bad at persuasion, General. And Zeros swing up her sword from underneath. General Lucas dodged it by sweeping back, and he becomes the prey of a shock wave and flies up about several meters. Ho, ho, this is quite, take this. And Zeros, who jumped lightly towards General Lucas in the air, made a big swing with the strength of her whole body. I only heard a sound that I didn't know well. It was N-Zeros who took a breath. In the air, as if the posture remained unsettled like an acrobat, General Lucas kicked the hit of the root of N-Zero's sword with the heel of his boot and stopped it. The part, not prong, is a short sword and the cutting power is low. With the roots of the sword that focused consciously on the tip, do not cut the thick boots. The rumored sword skill, as expected from N-Zero's Kuu, the two who landed on the ground again confront each other. Being troubled by N-Zero's General Lucas came near with casual steps. And also a few fine sword slashes. All the sword slashes are tried to be caught, but N-Zero's shoulder armor is flipped over. N-Zero's understood. Lucas is trying to break down all her armor so that N-Zero's body will be exposed. Phew, why don't you give up, my beautiful bride? I'm not your bride. An ace knight can't win against a master knight even if 3 people gather together. You probably know it, Kuu. I'm excellent, you know it already. Lucas first took a big swing back before thrusting forward. N-Zero's sword is blown away and Lucas grasps the neck of N-Zero's, whose eyes are open, and thrust her against the wall. Don't give me trouble, my wife, a good female is happy to be used for a better man. There is no power, bloodline, no more men, etc. You are grabbing happiness, Jigu, you, because of shock, or because of regret, and Zeros has tears in her eyes. And Zeros gave up. The desperately forged strength is laughable and her half-elf's dignity is cut off and abandoned, just because her face is beautiful and she is about to be collected like an interesting gemstone. That was not something I could forgive. Damn it, Andy.San, from here, if I can't win if I come out. He is strong. However, I cannot forgive myself if I don't save N-Zeros. So, at least in order to have at least a chance of winning, I took some arrows and load them on the crossbow while rolling into the reverse corner of the room. Let her down, you shitty elf. I aim my crossbow to Lucas. The distance to Lucas is less than 20 m. If it is this far apart, it can cut him in one step. As long as he doesn't move, I am superior. And I didn't skip training so that I would fail in about 20 m. SM, Smith's, son, Benov calm, what, you look familiar. I remember seeing you with her during the day. I thought that the face of a man isn't remembered. I remember the face of an obstructing man. To remove him, Lucas is able to avoid the crossbow. Although I thought that he wasn't a speed type from the way of approaching N-Zeros before, he is one. If so, it would be bad. It may not hit if I don't get closer. I won't have time for a second shot. I have to hit him with a single shot. However, when approaching, I will be knocked down the moment I pull the trigger. Even if I'm a distance away, I will be cut off swiftly. Aren't I cornered? Can I win? It's just right. Shall I remove you? As if it is so simple, you idiot, there is no time to hesitate. I decided to prepare, aim and pull the trigger. At that moment, sure enough, he disappeared from my view. The sight of slow motion. The fear of imminent death was suddenly a sense of reality because my head became incongruous, but looked strangely slowly after he appears again in my sight. The guy who came up again was beside the flying arrow. The arrow still didn't fly 3 m. It was slight of that much. Even if I drove the crossbow at that time to Diane, it was exchanged in this way, which I have forgotten. Lucas knocked the arrow down with his fine sword, then he turns around here. Far, yet slow visibility. And he looks towards me, and then, he looks to N-Zeros again and passes through me as it is. He turned, he shook his sword lightly sideways and swish, blood, what, that sword, cut flesh surely. And Zeros's wide open eyes were full of tears dripping down. Smithson. Time is coming back. And, for some reason, I feel my body is leaning. I try to brace my legs. However, sensation does not come back to my feet. Andy.san. Selenium comes out from the illusion and jumps at me. No, she stopped me from falling by hugging me. At my feet, Goran, there was a sound of something rolling. My left leg, down from my knee. This, maybe, is bad. I don't have a sensation right now, but maybe it hurts awfully. It is extremely hard. I mean, I will die, if it bleeds so much. Andy.san, don't look. I will cure you, I will do something. Andy.sauaa. I dropped the crossbow and fell into the blood. My field of vision turns around. Blood circulates. At the edge of sight, I could see Lucas swinging his arm to Selenium. Another half-elf. You're pretty beautiful too. How about a deal? If both of you would be my wives, I will give you time to treat this man. Lucas. Andy.san. Please release, Andy.san. Shit. This is bad. Chapter 19. Man's Nature. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Why am I dying in a place like this? I'm supposed to go back to my hometown to wake up Apple and live happily with Selenium and Diane. I didn't even know how serious Layla was, as she wanted to live with me. My income is undeniable, but I still have a future to live happily with beautiful girls. Roughly, even N0's is bad. Maybe Diane in a conclusion may not be in a pinch. Don't suicide without permission. I'm not supposed to be a sacrifice without permission. To begin with, N0's is a friend, but that's all. It is not known that she will kiss whoever her groom is. It won't matter to me, Andy Smithson. So why did I jump out? The opponent is a Master Knight. Master Knight is the strongest. It's the title of the one who has reached the strongest class of any warrior except dragons. Diane was so confident that she was so bandwagon. What am I despairing? Even though Diane has been acclaimed as a Master Knight inside herself, she doesn't actually have such a title. Even if it is just a social expression, I don't know. I would not have been able to manage with a single crossbow to fight against such a supreme being. What am I doing? It's decided to lose. The result is this. Boga, I'm garbage that can moan only in agony like a caterpillar in a puddle of blood. What are you doing, Andy? What are you doing? Don't be kidding. Rewind the time. Do it again, damn it. Roughly, it rides on the condition because it was in love with a little fortune for a little great woman. You can't wield a sword, you can't do magic, your pay is cheap, you're just a fool, a mere blacksmith's son. I thought what I was. Did I misunderstand that everything that was chosen for God or something around me would eventually go to my own way? I'm just a trot country-born townspeople. What was I going to be able to do with it precisely from the shoot of the crossbow? Don't be kidding. Don't be kidding. Don't be kidding. I'm just a stage prop who is protected by a woman who fell in love with you by a misunderstanding. I'm just a human. Just a small fish. I was not satisfied with myself. I do not think there is anything special about me. I'm not like Diane. I'm weak and small. Why didn't I wait at the hotel with N0's as said? Why did not I do so? But it is fine. I don't blame anyone. Why was it on top of my head? Why I pulled a bow to a man who I couldn't win against absolutely. I showed hostility. It would have been nice to have N0's. It is self-suicide. No matter what he is, I have no responsibility. There should not be. Why, damn if she isn't even my woman. At high speed, a condemnation of regret and stupidity fills my head. In reality, it's not even a second. Still, blood flows out. I'm going to die. Selenium that is supposed to heal me is caught by Lucas and N0's is wobbling at the wall. Andy.San, no. Smithson. Lucas hinders the two from trying to get close to me. I am going to die even at that moment. Their eyes are stained with despair. Goo, General Lucas. Please step aside. There is no way to talk. My bride, Kuu, hoo, this is a good face. Would you truly hurt yourself? You cannot keep yourself a little bit right. Stop with your saucy speech. Take off, both of you take off your clothes. If you swear to become my wife while being naked, I won't meddle during the treatment. Is it a hobby to get a woman like that? Low.life N0's, San N0's didn't hesitate to remove the clasp of her armor. Her sturdy black armor makes a sound as it hit the ground. The gloves are removed, the under armor and the short sword is pulled away in no time. Without hesitation, she will throw away her shame and reputation for me. N0's is going to throw her life away to save me, who is dying. You idiot. You idiot. You idiot. You idiot. A few seconds ago, I thought what? I wish I had abandoned that foolish N0's. What a thought. Don't be kidding. Don't be kidding. Don't be kidding. Smithson, thanks for a while ago, affirm all of me. I was delighted. Is this head of the idea that I should have abandoned that smile? Did she try to say that it was right to truncate the man who would not hesitate and throw away his life filled with pride for such a worthless person? Die. Die. Die of trash. Admit. Would be nice. Admit. N0's. Smithson. Such a fucking guy, your nakedness. Don't show it. I'm passive and I think as if it is not my responsibility to have done a harem without permission and all blame it on the person. I'm going to throw it away now. Let's admit this ugly ego. Scattered monopoly desire. It is better to voice out than to convince N0's to give up and become a hostage. You are pretty cute, to such a guy, never. Smith, son. What is this guy? On the verge of death, was he trapped in an illusion? N0's with tears, and Lucas, who was twisting up selenium, had a dubious face. I think I'm going to tell you what a dying small fish is. But now at this moment, my gut has sprouted. That pride burns up my resignation. Does it pass to the ear of this shitty man who tries to get a woman for his collection like this? N0's, even selenium are mine. Multiply a moment ago turning thoughts at high speed. For the time being it is hemostasis. Although it is still good if the wound has collapsed, even if it breaks by the same one, his sword completely cut my foot resolutely. This is very masculine without any elements that make it difficult for blood to come out. Selenium shouts that she wants to heal it, but with the power of the medical light technique, it is at best about eliminating wounds and blood beads that tore the epidermis with a knife. If it is selenium, she can force herself to shatter her life even though she loses her life, but still, such an injury will not be bad. The average human guy says that it will not be enough in time for more than 4 cups of bowls to bleed. There is no time. Even though I think Lucas will get in the way, I do not have time to hold down the blood vessels with strings or press on the wound slowly. It is necessary to block the wound at once. Think about the means. Remember what you can do. Is not there something? Anything is fine. I came up with something. If I bake the wound with the sealed fire breath, no. Those flames can burn a hellsbore. How did it just cut the wound? Damn it. Not yet. Don't give up. The enemy is strong. I don't have any weapons. It's a big wound. The tool doesn't fit. So you give up, Andy. So, Andy, do you want to allow N0s and selenium to be shamed? What were your 15 years? What was the hardship after leaving home? It's all mobilized. Whatever it is, use everything you can. It's good to use the flames. It's a clue, it's a way. I hope there is a way to burn my foot to such an extent that I won't die within the flames. Fire fires farther away. No, I do not know the actual power of the sealed fire breath in the first place. Damn. It was necessary to have asked Layla how strong her fire breath is. Shall I bet? She gave it to me to protect Jean. Maybe a powerful flame will only come out small for a moment and burn only a small area. It's too bad to bet on it. Is it good to make a burning suicide move? First of all, I need to survive and then handle this pervert elf with N0s and selenium. If I die I will only reduce one of his bargaining seeds. Even if he doesn't negotiate, he forced N0s, but that doesn't mean anything. I only have to control the flames. So, for example, focus the flame in one direction. I can do it, for example, if there is a slightly deeper rock dent, I can throw the seal stone behind it and it's fine. If I thrust it at my blood-dripping foot, it will be able to stop bleeding. Where is the best place? Yes, hidden behind the pillars around that side or beyond that pillar. Am I able to do it? I can't move in the first place. Fuck. I wish I could use magic. I should have learned more seriously. I don't have to be cured by healing magic. A technique that controls the force of this sealed stone is just fine. Wait a moment. There. I'm an idiot. Why didn't I remember it sooner? The engraving is a technique that controls the flow of power including magic. I guess I could have been a compliment to people about it. Carve the crest. Soon. How? I carve that it's not that special pen. How do you do that? Are there any alternatives? If it is the one with the magic, you can substitute. I have a glass of shiny stone outside. Damn it, is that 10 kilograms going to chop the crest with a likely boulder? I got it. Do you engrave the crest with a seal or a scratch? It's the treasure of dragons, I don't know if there's anything magical about it. But it's worth the betting. Come on, absorb and release. Focused release. It is the basis of the engraving. It's easy, I can chew a day. Draw calmly. If this is decided, I will make a surprise. I can't die yet. Hurry. So far, 3 seconds. I roll the sealed stone out of my pocket and hide it in my hand. The marble floor is like a carpet of blood, no problem. I'm not going to draw a complicated one. From here, I made the absorption position on the left side from me and the release position on my right. That's it. The amount of absorption, a little will be enough. No matter how much fire is focused on the heat, it will be a big burn and now release. Carefully go around this. What you are doing, human, Lucas was frowned upon when he saw that I started to stir up my blood all of a sudden. Did he find out that it's not just insane madness? But it's too late. I rolled over and put my left injured leg on the release position. And, in the middle of the absorption position, the sealing stone. Do you still hold a weapon? Lucas kicked at my hand. The sealed fire breath is exposed and selenium is surprised. I guess he did not think that I was playing around this period. Is it a magical tool, a throwing off type? Were you planning to hit me with such a thing, me who could not be hit by a crossbow? Coo, I don't like it. I have to cut that hand. Lucas pulled out the fine sword that he put on his hip at once with a theatrical tone. He looks at N0s. I guess he is expecting N0s to rush and swear her slavery. But the hand that held the sword overlaps in the ray of the release position, just above my left wounded leg. A golden opportunity. Goodbye my left foot. Thank you for 25 years. I smashed the sealing stone on the absorbing position. Lucas, who is truly super fast, seems not to have thought that my movement is an attack and can't react in time. Sink or swim. If the crest doesn't react by smashing the sealed stone, it's only a suicide show from myself. However, at the moment of the smash, the engraving under the blood emits a pale light. Goo! I absorbed the power of the sealed stone as I aimed and focused on the radiation. The fire breath became a heat ray, growing in a straight line, charred the wound at the tip of my left foot and roasted Lucas's dominant arm. Guawea. Lucas retreats after releasing the fine sword from his hand, which got burned very badly. Also, a strange sweat is on the black burnt wound, which is far from a burn. The pain is still the same. Or rather, there is an abnormal feeling that the blood of the whole body is flowing backward alternately between fire and ice blocks. An emergency. But I wonder if I really survive. No, I can do that later. The next thing is what to do with this shithead. I have to do it. Even if one hand is taken, it is doubtful how far his power has fallen. He's not a ball player. He is the master knight who can fight equally with 3 ace knights. He proved that he is a master knight. His speed that surpasses the speed of my crossbow is still intact. What can I do? Think. Don't give up. It's a success so far. I need to think. This trash. Human trash. Hee, a good or has brought out metal, General. San, I make my head think of an idea while provoking this bastard. Can I defeat this man? And zeros can't keep up with that speed. The trap like now won't work again. However, being able to crush his dominant arm means that it is possible for N-Zeros to defeat him. I wonder if it will be so in any case. How many more cards do we have? Can N-Zeros fight? Could I ask Selenium for something? What can I do without my feet? Think. Kuu, you will regret this. I will cut off both your arms and legs. Dig out your eyes and fill the holes with dung. I will scrape away all your teeth and tongue so that you will never speak any words again before I will hang you in the same room as these 2 half-elves. With our technology one can connect nerves to your hollowed eyes. As you live and decay, you will keep watching how these girls will be ravished by me and groan because of pleasure. What a dirty and shitty elf, everyone is far better than you, don't open your mouth anymore. I was kicked into the belly. I don't think it hurts so much. Even so, I heard that elves are considerable bigotry, but I never thought it would be that much. No, the teacher from the Crest Engraving Institute and Aurora aren't bad people, only a bit strange. I guess this guy has strong special awareness. I bet he was boxed like Trot Nobleman. Is it such a luck that such a man is the strongest in the country? Abominable. N-Zeros, give me your sword, are you drowsy, moo, uoo. Lucas tried to pick up the sword of N-Zeros instead of his own sword that was bent and useless. But N-Zeros responds with a slash. Lucas dodges it in the last minute. With several shock waves that took place, he retreated a few steps back. Did you not know the difference between our powers yet? I forgot. Thank you for teaching me again. In that gap, N-Zeros and Selenium stand in front of me. N-Zeros, who tore herself under the armor, was half-naked, but she didn't mind doing that, and Selenium jumps to me and used her medical treatment spell on my foot. Andy.San, are you okay? Say, Selenium, quickly stop the bleeding, you can take care of my foot later. Yes, please wait for a moment. Selenium crawls her hand on my bloody back and murmurs a spell while pushing at one point. At that moment, it was painful. Thanks, I just disguised the pain as a tactile illusion, because I can't heal it. I know, even though my foot is laying near, it can't be cured. Meanwhile, N-Zeros was cutting the distance while confronting Lucas, who is holding down his hand. Is that human so important? At least he is better than a shitty elf like you. You need to listen to a general. 10. Man Captain, it's funny that a sex harasser like you is a general. If you're the general of an army, show me your dignity. It seems you want to make me angry. No matter how brave you are, when I become serious I can get rid of your beloved 100-man corps. Your young master personality is exposed. What is it? Are you scared of a woman and want to crush a corps? Will you go cry to the higher-ups of the army? Don't be kidding. Do you really think I can't fight because I don't have a sword in my hand? Let's stop with this tedious talk. Both of them talk about intense things, but that alone does not work. Lucas is avoiding N0's gaze. He is looking for a weapon. He seems to be a warrior who relied on a sword more than he thought. On the other hand, N0's cannot move as she protects Selenium and me. It is a checkmate this time. When she is beaten or we are taken hostage by him. If I could support her with something. I can do something if I use the sealed stone and engraving. Suddenly, there was a sound from my hand. The sealed stone is in my hand. Before I know it, the sealed stone blackened like charcoal and become brittle. When I grip it with my hand, it collapses further and breaks as smooth as possible. Andy.San, by the way, I feel that Layla said, disposable. I see. It can only be used once. When it comes to that, there is nothing more I can do. I wanted to gain time for N0's. Even if Lucas continues to threaten us endlessly without finding a weapon, we have no way to fight back, and this is our enemy's territory. I don't know where the support comes from. I'd like to hope that Diane comes to aid, but Lucas's case will be tough with Diane. Diane and Becker are both 100-man commanders and I don't think they'll ever die, but I can't expect them to be a victory, at least for us. What do we do? What do we do? Smithson. Selenium. N0's whispers to us. Are you going to stay in the corner of the room a little more? Yes, okay. N0's unravels the string that had tied her hair and spreads her hair. Take responsibility, because you interrupted the marriage of two people, but, N0's, N0's smiled. Lady. Killer, her hair draws a trajectory and N0's assaults. Hi. Slashing anger. N0's sword is fast. I cannot count how many emissions are before my eyes. Lucas tries to prevent it with the candlestick which was around him inevitably and didn't see N0's as an opponent. Impudent. Lucas raises his speed. N0's keeps up with him. Faster. N0's still keep up to him. What? Lucas kicks the table in front of him trying to hold down N0's and jumps up. N0's makes the table fall apart for a moment before she approaches Lucas. Lucas was terrified. N0's is clearly different from before. Looking at his right burned hand and me, Lucas still is sore, but he instantly gripped the crooked fine sword with his left hand to fight N0's. However, he is not able to correspond with N0's sword fighting. A too fast swordsmanship becomes a continuous sound like a chain dragged on a rock. That shitty noble elf who only attacked all this time is clearly defending poorly as he is not accustomed to it. A short while later N0's beat Lucas's small sword and break it with one attack. Don't do it, beheading sword N0's. That's it, I should have told you that I'm not your friend. No, the reward of hurting my precious person, you will pay for it. I didn't want to use this, but, nah. Lucas thrusts his hand behind the tapestry on the wall. N0's thrusts at him expressionlessly. But Lucas, who escaped N0's pulled out something from the back of the tapestry. It is a sword. A huge sword that is nearly 2 m only by the blade like the one ogres use. It was fun, beheading sword N0's. But you're too much on the pitch. I told you, here the strongest and supreme one is me. Too honest, it is a ridiculous weapon. However, a complicated pattern is engraved on the blade and sometimes the rainbow-colored light is running on it. It is obviously not an ordinary weapon. Dragon Slayer, the dazed Selenium muttered. That, yes, I've seen a similar thing in the Half-elves Museum. Transcendental warriors called Dragon Slayers once caused the Fire Dragon War. Their weapons left behind in ruins of the ancient civilization are also called Dragon Slayer. Many of those weapons are said to have been shattered or sealed by people who were scared of the dragons during the Fire Dragon War 100 years ago. Most of the things that remain a little are under strict control by the state. The characteristic is destructive energy deviating from normal. If you shake it, the earth ruptures, the tide breaks, and the clouds disappear. Lucas has a strongly burned hand, but if that is the legendary Dragon Slayer, no matter how Lucas is carrying a handicap, it is dangerous. And Zeros, run away. No, and Zeros cut off my cry with an immediate answer. When she runs away, the next one is me. And Zeros is going to protect me who can't escape. Ho ha ha ha. That's the spirit. The moment beautiful things are broken is also beautiful. Lucas was elated. Swinging the sword toward N-Zeros. The pattern of the Dragon Slayer developed intricately and released a rainbow color light strongly. Dun. Dot. And Zeros dodged by just jumping aside. Lucas's heavy slash has produced a huge and violent slashing wave. Regardless of its dullness, it made fissures over several dozen meters. The ventilation is getting much better. Ho ha 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 ha. How? I don't want to be told to rely on this thing to win, but as long as I have it, I'm invincible. Disappear N-Zeros. The sight of it is so chilly. With such a suitable attack, it still powers to roam the building up to several tens of meters. Yes, you can fight dragons if it is a skilled warrior. Deathlock. There is no way we can fight such a thing. I can fight. No, wait a minute, Diane's face flickered in my mind. What will she do? How will she fight? I took the crossbow that was lying beside me. I pulled the string of the crossbow. I attached an arrow to it while sitting and aimed for Lucas's arm who is fighting. Hey, Selenium, can you help me shoot? Should I shoot when you can't shoot? Later, I pulled the trigger and an arrow pierced through the wrist of Lucas. Gwa wah. Lucas let the Dragon Slayer fall to the ground while screaming. He is a fool. He didn't think about a projectile or a double attack at all. Checkmate. Lucas and Zeros moved quickly and shoved her sword against Lucas's throat. We won against this general who was ignorant of the world. We tied Lucas up with ropes that I had with me, and Selenium restrains his magic power at least for a few hours. Do you think that it is fine by just doing things like this, half-elves and human? It seems to be cheaper than being your bride, and Zeros returns a serious look. It's better than being a prey to that Dragon Slayer, Selenium talks while kicking away the Dragon Slayer. It's also better than having my eyes filled with feces. I also say this ironically. That dark elf and Siegbecker won't survive when you tie me up. There are 300 elite soldiers from the Southern Army Corps, who will finish Siegbecker. What's with me? Yua. As if to cut into this idle gossip, 100-man Special Duty Commander Becker has emerged. Diane is also behind him. Andy, that figure, I failed. Don't be reckless. Diane, who sees my carbonized leg, has a face that is about to cry and hugs me deeply. I'm a little happy that my face is buried in Diane's big breasts. No, if I don't immerse myself in this happiness, I will be thinking about it throughout my lifetime and my heart will be broken. Why are you here, Father? I am an old friend with Dior. It's from before you were born and we came back home after a cup of tea ceremony, Diane said in a cold voice. No wonder the son of Dior is such a person. Will he change over the time of 100 years? WH, what do you mean, what is that? Go home and listen to your parents slowly. I will take the girls back. And, this is for Andy's foo. Diane with a smile gets up and makes a strong kick at Lucas's neck that could break by it and blew him away 5m. The following is a reconfiguration based on Diane's story. Originally, this forest area centered enclaves was a buffer zone not belonging to any country until around the Fire Dragon War. It seems that it was impossible to contribute anywhere in the relationship of the power figures until the streets in the continent were destroyed one after another in the Fire Dragon War. However, due to the Fire Dragon War, the national group was forced to reorganize and the forest territory was also incorporated into Celesta after the twists and turns. It was a terrible feeling. It was a territorialization in the state of refusing entry into the economic zone, although it was permitted for the time being. However, the invasion began from the southern Lapland Islands aiming for the forest territory, which was a powerful enemy at the time as a small country that is nothing to do because Celesta's armaments were in place now. The forest territory did not irresistibly ask for help from Celesta. However, the relationship from other commerce and industry chores were getting worse due to the relationship, so they showed awfully frustrated at the time of incorporation, and no chambers of commerce made any active support. Since the armaments were not in place as mentioned above, direct support from the commerce and industry was indispensable for the activities of the military. Also, on the other hand, from reflection on giving room to wine due to the transference in a discussion, by depriving the Lapland Islands once and then depriving them again with power, without questioning the economic sphere without intention such as colony leader, there was also an abdominal surgery to take in uselessly. But if that happens, the lush green forest will become a battlefield often. The blow that the forest receives in war is enormous, the time and effort required for repair are immeasurable. It was fatal to the forest elves who depend on the forest to live. Was Diane, surveying engineer at that time, to have helped because she had seen it. It seems that she crushed all the landing bases of the invasion forces of the Lapland Islands, baked the ship from one end, and turned over with only a few dozen surveying teams, all members were non-combatants, in the battle situation. Of course, the forest elves were pleased. There were some who felt humiliated by being saved by a dark elf who is traditionally looked down at one step, but there is no doubt that she had saved the forest crisis. Especially delighted by it was Dior.San, the colony leader, who gave a specially tailored longsword to Diane.San. Dior.San has shown his utmost friendship to Diane's Oasis colony since. However, this case begins with Dior.San's Dark Elf's favor. Because Diane's success and her beauty were brilliant, Dior.San wasn't enthusiastic about marrying despite having no children. I mean, he wasn't keen on making a child. It was a problem. A colony leader who never dates. Elves have nobility in their pedigree among elves, among which those with particularly good bloodlines become leaders. The society which emphasizes the goodness of the bloodline is sometimes paranoid. There seems to be a rule that every 10 leaders of local forest elves have to leave children behind. Not becoming impatient as he grew old, Dior.San had no intention of making children. But still persuaded after a long time, Dior.San somehow made children. Not many. 8 in total. But his bride was already the first to say that she was tired of making her husband concerned. Getting a daughter from a dark elf so that he can make a child. And the surroundings began to run away. On the other hand, his son and daughter who grew up quickly polished their arms at the martial art gallery created to protect the forest territory while feeling suspicious of their father having an unclean face when it comes to the dark elf story. They grow up to be splendid warriors. Despite doing his work properly, Dior.San didn't care about his job properly and didn't care about his surroundings, worrying about himself just for not making children, while his children swallowed it down. A foolish son who selflessly confers a guardian deity of the forest territory with confidence indefinitely, to be recognized as a master knight and showing off his power. Anyway, his son wanted to make the children by kidnapping female young dark elves and female ogres one after another. Dior.San, who isn't good at anything if it has to do with dark elves, is at a loss as he stabs his knees with no understanding of his surroundings. He had a stupid son who began to make a harem busily out of a misunderstanding until now. It seems that is the case. Sword, did you got it? Yeah, I got a knife from you, that, it was a proposal, why? Diane made a strange face. In the dark elf custom, if I gave you a knife for free, wasn't it a proposal? If it is free of charge, but I have received it as a reward for military exploits, Dior.san. Perhaps he studied and practiced the custom of dark elves to propose to Diane, but it seems that his intent hasn't been received even after 100 years. Free means that you gift something without receiving any compensation in return. Moreover, it seems that only me who didn't want to receive money made a real proposal to Diane, even if it wasn't my intention. Well, there is no way to get behind the scenes. 100. Man Commander Becker looks outside from the broken wall. It's very troublesome to have the desire to replace your bloodline. Followers are starting to gather, roughly 50 people. They are still gathering. I wonder how long they will take. Diane seems to be reading precisely what is happening outside with the precision that won't lose to the skills of 100. Man Commander Becker. At the same time, Diane keeps hugging me. A while ago, Lucas was saying that 2 infantry and 1 cavalry corps are under his command. When N0's reports, 100. Man Commander Becker nod and she deliberately deflects her eyes. Is that so? 10. Man Captain N0's, you were a beauty. It's not like I've changed my face. Well, that's true, but it is poisonous to the eyes. Wearing this, the 100. Man Commander took off his coat and put it over N0's, who is still wearing only her underwear. Like a dad, a bit cool. I would have done it if I had a jacket. 100. Man Commander's jacket, the arms are too long, take the sleeves and bind them around your abdomen. Besides, it is great when it is too big for her body. It's a cute point. In the end, it was useless to stay in this place, so we decided to leave this place while paying attention to the multiplicity of people who haven't shown up yet. Selenium cast an illusion on my leg and with her help, I could move, but it seemed so unnaturally. Before that, Selenium claps her hands before leaving the house and ran perfectly to Lucas, who was tied down suddenly. I forgot to give back what you did to Andy.san. Don't do anything too rough. Even though we have already won, there is no point in hurting anymore. As it is about Selenium, her attitude can change abruptly 90 degrees, Andy's gentle, right? Your foot has been cut off, so why don't we cut one of his legs too? Don't say such a serious and scary thing with such a smile, ehehe. She smiled wickedly. And then? Well then, I will be rude, stepping. No, it is not a level of being rude already. With the momentum of stepping down on the floor, she stepped with all her might on Lucas. A bit. Lucas's scream echoes. I dare not to say something because I can imagine where Selenium stepped on and it will hurt greatly. Selenium, you, oh my God, in fact, it is not enough to satisfy my hatred even if he gets filled with various things, gets stuffed all over or gets packed in various ways. No, calm down Selenium, I'm calm. I just can't forgive him for what he did. Selenium smiles with a grin. 100. Man Commander Becker and I looked at Lucas, whose eyes became pale white and keeps trembling and somehow look away while nodding to each other. Selenium is the type of woman who should not be turned to an enemy the most. So, for the time being, Selenium lend me a shoulder and together with the others, we slowly go out to the main street while our weapons are put back into the sheaths. Waiting for us there were the 2 infantry and 1 cavalry corps. They are probably the elite soldiers. Next moment 100. Man Commander Becker whistled. You're hindering the traffic, please step aside. Dark elf say greatly. One of the infantry says this in a foolish tone. It was a human. Does he feel depressed by Lucas's blood loss for some reason? There is a report saying that someone is rampaging at the general's house. Was it you guys? They were informed. Was it that butler elf? Well, there was also the strike from that dragon slayer, so it won't be surprising if the neighborhood made a report. The general was on a rampage. He was drunk. Don't lie, you are bad anyway. The general always has right, so we have always right. I heard that belief is not an elf's field, which is awkward. When 100. Man Commander Becker shrugged his shoulders, the infantry corps became murderous. Let's do it. Wait, Sieg Becker, that guy, Ace Knight. What, there are more than one ace knight, the other two are girls, who are they? These words whispered through their mouths. 100. Man Commander Becker is quite famous for his special duty corps. And N0's and Diane are not known at all. Well, since N0's is in various ways complicated, even though it cannot be helped and Diane isn't even known. Yeah, I understand that you are faithful to your boss, but it's a great night in Claves, so let me relax in a fluffy bed. 100. Man Commander Becker waves with his hands, freezing the infantry even more. A soldier with a spear advances. It is a young elf. Do you mock us, Celesta's South splendid soldiers, Sieg Becker? I think that I don't make fun of you, but it seems that the prosperity has changed quite a lot, even if it is prosperous. I thought that there were many old men with more bones in the time when they were said to be the third soldiers in the West and the second soldier in the South. What the hell are paramilitary soldiers and elves doing here? Whether you can cling to the old soldiers and keep their strength, the times are constantly changing, you should change those old fellows with young people. Don't stain the flag of the predecessors, it is the reputation that those old dogs left behind for youngsters. Cool. Cheeky everywhere, the young elf set up his spear. 100. Man Commander Becker smirked when he made himself ready, but before that, Diane raised her hand. Why do you set up your spear? Are you a friend? Or an enemy who harms the general? An adolescent elf immediately answered Diane's inquiry. Diane quietly turns her eyes down. Well, if we're not friends, then you are an enemy who will be killed if you could kill me. I'm an ace knight. Before finishing his words, the young elf was kicked up by Diane and was flying as high as 8 meters. His broken spear rolls on the ground. Now I got pumped up, come over from anywhere, I will kill you all. Serious murder intention flares from Diane. Very serious murderous intention that wasn't shown even when fighting Layla. Her words were transmitted with a quiet tone, but it had the destructive impulse on the verge of snapping. It would be better for you guys to run away. Seriously, the current commander can't be stopped even by 10 ace knights. Is there such a thing? We are 100 elite soldiers. One dark elf without a knight class. Noisy. Stop this tedious talk and hurry. The sin for hurting my man is still not enough for the lives of all of you. Goo. Diane releases a kick to the sky. Only 2 or 3 infantry soldiers were hit, flew away and knocked on the trees and the ground. The shock wave that N0 struck with a sword can be made by Diane's kick. No, if it comes to that, she surely can put it out by hand. Any weapon. How many warriors can bear it if they are blown away by hands and feet of such power? Diane doesn't have a weapon. There is no meaning to have one. Now I know. She is different from Lucas. She is the real monster. Diane, tell me. It's a big deal for a weaponless dark elf. I felt something close to the original Dragon Slayer Layla's words resurrected in my mind. What happens if Diane has a Dragon Slayer? Won't she be a rampaging creature who is at the Dragon's class? What's wrong? Only your mouths are talking. Come over. And die. I'm telling you to come at me from anywhere. The angry Diane, let the infantry soldiers be frightened of her. But arrows are aimed at Diane from the darkness of the trees. Danger. Selenium shouts with her voice in a hurry. When she raises her voice, the cognitive power of the surroundings concentrates and the illusion was solved. However, Diane isn't someone who will be hit by arrows. She is gone. She is equal to Lucas or even better. Diane already moved at a speed that can't be seen with the eyes. Even without seeing her, the archers know that she will come for them. After a few seconds, the elf archers fell down from the trees here and there. They were knocked down by Diane. She is a monster. How can we win? The soldiers who have fallen on their butts showed very terrified expressions as they talk with each other. 100. Man Commander Becker sighed. All Master Knights are monster. what did you think she was? The surroundings became strange. There are seriously a lot who crawl or run away from Diane. Coo, don't run away, don't run away. You guys are still the guardians of the proud elven territory. It seems like that a 10-man captain still tries to inspire his allies, but he seems to be a small fish who has nothing to say. Suddenly his mouth was blocked with a sword and a graceful red-haired elf advanced. You lost, know how to give up, 10-man Captain Dover. Aurora. A strong man does not reduce military power unnecessarily, but grasps the tactical goal firmly and exerts the power only when necessary. There is no purpose just for doing a non-objective assault. Hi, good day, beheading sword and zeros, daydreamer Siegbecker and war god Diane. Sama, war god. Could it be her from Trot War? Did we challenge her without knowing? Apparently, Diane's nickname was recognized by two people. Aurora seems to be a bit enthusiastic. I can understand the nicknames beheading sword and war god, but what is with 100-man Commander Becker's daydreamer? And Smithson. I haven't forgotten you, she smiled. Aurora elegantly kneels to the green road that is echoing with screams and despair. Then she asks Diane for forgiveness. Please forgive my brother's rudeness today, let's compensate for what I can compensate for under my name. Diane slowly releases her fists. Finally the horrifying fierce ended, and the trembling soldiers also caught a civil elf who was hiding. Miraculously, Diane didn't kill one person. I thought they don't deserve to die, so I only hit them. Diane finished chewing on her tea with a serious look. Scary. Andy, they surely would be dead, if Layla was there. Even Claves would be destroyed. Surely, Selenium and N0's nod. 100-man Commander Becker and Aurora had a dot on their faces. We are in a room in a hotel. Selenium's and Diane's room. We had 3 rooms in total, 1 room for those two, 1 for N0's and 1 for 100-man Commander Becker and me. Then, as a proof of reconciliation, I was going to give a greeting anyway, inviting Aurora and holding a tea party at night. By the way, I am on Diane's bed. It was hard to get treatment. Smithson. Seems to be very popular, that even the war good Diane. Sama cherishes him. That, can you stop doing that, something is wrong with it. Diane looks uncomfortable. You're the most admired person. The strongest, humble, genius, hard worker, charismatic and humanist, it is true. In this way, it is really unbelievable to describe Diane like that. During daytime, I was taking the experience to learn crest engraving together with Smithson. At that time I thought if there is something that could make me interested in like using a sword, then I met Smithson. Who carved crests for the first time and I learned more than I thought. Your eyes hurt. Don't pay attention to me. What the hell is that again? However, what I felt was fate, after I heard that when I insulted N0's. With a childish pride, that Smithson is from Celesta. From the point I heard that, I realized that my world is too narrow and thinking that humans teach the world space to short-lived humans. Whatever I am going to do, I noticed that there was no accumulation to look down on someone, no matter what. It was my complete defeat, to a simple person who is not just a human but also is weak in handling a sword. That, I thought of a lot of things and said many things that time. Besides, Smithson. Beat my brother today, who never lost to anyone even though he is a snob minding only his appearance, has a quick temper and not very smart. No, I didn't win against General Lucas, I am the sister of that man. It is meaningless now, but only this lineage can be ignored by anyone in this city. I think that it is best for me to accompany you for a while in order to avoid my elder brother in the future. Of course, it's my own intriguing, it's kind of the usual pattern. Don't look at me like that. It's not my fault. I made up my mind to be cool when I helped N0's, but this isn't my fault, is it? Everyone sighed at the same time besides 100-man Commander Becker and Aurora. Well, it surely goes well with what she says. Honestly, considering the assistance of Smithson, it is certain that you want more manpower for the future, but it's a bit complicated for me. It is said that she is said to be an assistant, and then she realizes again that she has no more legs. However, Andy's leg, if possible, should be operated properly. It would be dangerous for the thigh if it isn't handled properly. Somehow I can't cure that. If it didn't heal, I would have been responsible for it, but I would have to take care of it. Well, that is fine, or maybe he will be healed once he returns to Polka, and Zeros who was afraid and Diane who was thinking stops perfectly. Looking into the air for a couple of seconds, those two and I looked up and pointed to selenium at the same time. That's it. 100. Man Commander and Aurora have no idea of what we mean and drank their tea quietly. Chapter 20. Reunion with a Dragon. Layla Jean, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Several days have passed since the disturbance at Lucas's house. Full. Say. Yeah. In the backyard of the hotel, and Zeros and Aurora crossed swords repeatedly. Both are using dummy swords without a blade. And Zeros and Aurora were comparatively close together, so they did one match in the morning and evening. Ha, ha, I will do it. You have nothing to brag about. Like her older brother, Aurora is using a slender long sword and Zeros a short sword as usual. There is a difference close to 10 centimeters in height, and there is only a short reach of the arm, but Zeros seems to be in a disadvantage. But as they continued for a while, Aurora's weak points are revealed. Her swing will soon become dull. On the other hand, if they continue, Zeros will lose by the same condition after 2 hours. Her stamina and grip strength are insufficient. Anyway, if you like short-term battle practice matches and assault tactics, then defensive strategies are hard. How did you break through the Iwashima labyrinth? I switched in alternating with both hands and made it somehow. My weapon was also a sharp sword, so it wasn't prolonged. You're more of an effort than my brother. General Lucas wasn't used to using a sword with his left hand at all. It was thanks to Zeros and my common opinion that Zeros won. My brother has such a character, but he is a genius in terms of swords. He was able to rule everything with a single art. Because I understand that it is impossible to imitate that, I extended my repertoire. It is a good mind. If you were my opponent, I might not have won the match. Zeros charges again. Aurora switched the way she is holding her sword and accepted the challenge. Their clash continues. However, even if such a thing is said, Zeros' attack never declines in power. Soon Aurora will be defeated. Cool, when Aurora fails to get some distant, Zero strikes with shockwaves immediately. Kya. Aurora flew up in the sky and the apron of the practicing clothes rolled up so that we could see what was below. Nice, Domo. 100. Man Commander Becker and I, who watched the match, nodded at the same time, shaking hands to a little sense of solidarity. Immediately afterwards, we both eat a fist from Diane. Ouchta, what are you guys doing? No, look, I just had some free time. Ha 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 ha. Well, I wanted to observe the growth of these pretty juniors. 100. Man Commander and I made an excuse at the same time. Diane sighs. After that, the post-war process, or rather, we had to do some cleanup. First of all, Lucas. With regard to his doings, the situation was treated as attacking a woman who simply defended herself. We were fortunate that there was no accusation here, as we couldn't handle it as power harassment and insult to the Northern Corps, because I and Zeros only reported our identities as just travelers. Local authorities of Celesta are strong in extraterritorial rights. Especially in places where sub-ethnic colonies are the subject, trouble is not always from lack of sense to the custom, but in such a case travelers are more likely to be bad in general. Because it is such a trend, the harm to travelers tends not to be charged much. Lucas seemed to have received a light condolence for what he has done. According to Aurora's story, one piece of his body has become useless. Yes, this alone may be enough punishment. By the way, the Dragon Slayer couldn't be overlooked and was sent to the capital by Flying Dragon Service. Next, the Southern Corps called 300 elite soldiers. Regarding this, it seems that 100-Man Special Duty Commander Becker moves his hands behind the scenes, probably they will be reorganized into separate troops after dissolution. Too far too stained with the color of Lucas, but the Southern Corps that have been eaten by Lucas is also remarkably short of staff members now. It seems to be such a treatment because it can't be cut irregularly. Oh well, it is unlikely that the soldiers who noticed that Lucas is a frog in the well compared to Captain Diane will remain by his side, as they likely recognize that the world isn't narrow. After all, that's what 100-Man Commander Becker said. I hope each of them will return to protecting Celesta soundly. Next is me. Or rather my feet. Diane retrieved my lost leg that was rolling around in Lucas' residence unexpectedly. So the next day, I had a surgery at a nearby hospital. Diane was the one who did the surgery. It seems that her first profession was being a doctor. My third and 20-second brother and ninth sister were doctors, so I became one too, but it was over 100 years ago. I can connect things but don't expect much more from me. While saying that, I cut out the carbonized part and connect my feet, using meat and bones. It seems to be from a deer or antelope. It seems that the transplantation technique was supplemented with Claves's advanced magic technology. But they just connected. Unfortunately, I don't feel anything and I can't move even if I try hard. That fact seems to have been known before the surgery itself. It is not possible to use illusion magic to revive only the tactile sense, but it is a little difficult to move. Even now, this is the limit for the current medicine. After all, the power of the spirit fountain of Polka is necessary, so I decided to head for Polka even though I got a reserve role. I cannot help at all as a soldier if I remain like that. I surely will retire. Incidentally, taking care of the defecation is Selenium, who is happy. And about N0s and Aurora. It seems that N0s decided to quit wearing male clothes because the armor has already been broken by Lucas, so it is a good opportunity. Then, the question of what kind of appearance she would have from now on came up: to wear Northern Elf wine short clothes, which is easy to move around like Selenium, or to make clothes made up of a minimum fabric area of desert ethnic style like Diane, or Trot's town girl styled knee-length skirt, and so on. Several ideas were raised, and about half a day was needed before the ladies found a decision. But, in the end, it settled down to the style of wearing a vest with a stamped pattern for avoiding arrows on top of a simple shirt and a slit-deep skirt in the end. Even though it is rather active, and Zeros, who is obediently dressed like a girl, is fresh. Besides, she feels restless recently because I seem to have delicately confessed to her during that Lucas riot. By the way, her hair is played around by Selenium every day. Today she has 3 braids, but there is also a ponytail or twin-tail day. In the meantime, for the time being, Aurora is going to follow us with the role of being an observer. She got a rival named N0s and she seems to be competitive from the beginning. And future plans. We stayed in Claves so far due to these various circumstances, but in the afternoon we will leave again for the Oasis. Traveling through Helicon, we will first go to the Oasis colony, Talc, which Diane originated from. To pick up Diane's sister, Hilda, then go to Layla's Dragon Palace and have the plan to let Layla take us to Polka. Who is that Hilda? She is a doctor, majoring in magic medicine. Should, because I haven't met her for nearly 2 decades, I guess it cannot be helped, but I think she still works as a doctor from my father's stories. If I can be healed by that person, we don't have to go to Polka. That's why we are going to pick her up, right? I probably said that it is impossible for you to be cured by the current medicine now, but I certainly thought that when you talked about Polka there was someone else who needed a doctor at the leading edge of Celesta. Ah, is that so? As a staff member for Apple, it seems we will bother Diane's older sister. I really appreciate the seriousness of Diane, who will take all the trouble to think about arranging such arrangements for another woman. Okay, there are no items left behind. There is none. I am fine as well. I have no problem if Andy is there. It's my first trip to another country, so I am excited. We take the carriage and leave Claves. A few minutes later, 100. Man Commander Becker ran after us and caught up with the carriage. Hey! Hey Captain! Do you intentionally left me behind on purpose? Hey! He had a small barrel in both hands. Does it mean that he bought them suddenly just before departure? Hey! Captain! Hey! It's not a joke. Perhaps, does Diane hold a grudge that 100. Man Commander Becker got in the way while being in Claves? After a week or so, we went through the forest territory and arrived at Helican, a desired desert city. And we were dumbfounded. There was a banner marked, "Welcome to Dragon City Helican," at the main gate of Helican. Diane, say nothing, you probably have predictions. No, but come on, if it is so marvelous, it will mean something. Diane squeezes a grin in temple. Selenium laughs with amazement. And Zero sighs. Which reminds me, there was a fuss about seeing a dragon on the evening before Captain left. Are you going to make a town with that? I have never heard of a dragon palace near here, without knowing about Layla, 100. Man Commander Becker and Aurora, who are coming along, somewhat leak peaceful impressions. After seeing the gate for a while for weaknesses, we started walking to the main street to confirm the truth of things. And as expected by Diane and me, we found a gathering of Layla and other general citizens who are drinking during daytime around the middle of the main street. Ho! Oh, boy, Diane has come back as well. Oh, Layla's acquaintance, let's drink together. Okay, Layla's acquaintances came. The alcohol will be even more delicious. Memorial tomorrow. Today is also an anniversary. Almost all the citizens are in high spirits. Was it such a good economic city? Hearing many rumors, it seems that the lizardmen colonies nearby opened up a trade route at once, and since then it is everybody's public pleasure. I see. Diane shows a convincing face. What do you mean? I have heard that lizardmen traditionally have a habit of trying to bring a dragon to their lord. Around this point dragons were supposed to have ceased to exist since the Fire Dragon War, so all the lizardmen have heard the rumors of Layla. They probably wanted to interact with her. Ah, I see. It is said that lizardmen have a lot of excellent merchants. If it is possible to trade friendly with their colony, the economy will be good. When I was convinced, I heard a voice from behind. It's 10. Man Captain. UOO. Because I am on crutches, it is difficult for me to look back. Jean comes jumping from behind, and as I can't bear this powerful dwarf girl's tackle in my current situation, I fell down to the ground. Ahaha. 10. Man Captain is weak as usual. No, it's a little serious right now. What? Why do you have a cane? Are you injured? My leg was chopped off and I was about to die. What? No, it's really hard. I'll talk about it later, so please give me a minute. I can't move. In a hurry. Jean, get off from above me. While checking whether blood is coming out from my left leg, which has no sense, or not receiving a fracture, I stand up with Selenium's help, and Layla, who placed her mug, somehow shows a serious face in front of me as if it is piercing me. Boy, what happened? No, it was only a small fight. I will tell you later. I was trying to brown it and trying to smile so as not to destroy the air in this place somehow, but it seemed to be a bit late. Layla suddenly took off her clothes. Don't remove them. You said forest territory. Attacking my owner, they will become the wilderness territory from tomorrow onwards. Wait. Layla, wait. For a moment, consciousness blurs. At the next moment, Layla's figure disappeared and a black dragon appeared more than 50 meters in length in the main street. Wait a minute, I will burn them thoroughly. Wait. Layla, who is angry, spew fire into the sky. Some clouds will be blown away. WH, what is that? Hey, you're lying, a real dragon. I see one for the first time. Aurora and 100. Man Commander Becker panicked as expected. UO. Layla. Sama is leaving. Layla, we will be waiting for your return. LA. The citizens are in high spirits. Don't encourage her. Or rather, at the forefront of the battlefield, is it a military police force? Stop it. It was nearly a catastrophe. A master knight who has power, I should have followed you. It is not good that he also kept a dragon slayer hidden, but I can't forgive him for what he did to you. It was good. It was really good to not take Layla with us. If we took her, my leg wouldn't be cut off, but Claves could really have become ashes. Night. I was invited to a mansion near the drinking place. It seems that it was a mansion of a trading house in this neighborhood, but it seems that it was presented to Layla, as lightly as possible, and told Jean and Layla about the fight against Lucas. Jean had shining eyes, but on the contrary, Layla chewed on her teeth with an serious face. Well, after all I am save. And Zeros had a most spectacular victory, and the sealed fire breath stone borrowed by Layla, was used by me without permission. Don't worry for you to care about that, since it can be made in hundreds. But when you use it in such a way, depending on how you discharge it, you may have hurt yourself instead, so don't use it in that way again. Yes, it was nice. I am really lucky. Well, next is the land of the north. Before that we have to go pick up Diane's sister. There is half a elf, called Apple, who is sleeping and waiting for me. Well, I guess she is the example female slave. Yup, it's no bother to take you there, but it's a large group, so I might as well make a backpack. To the land in the north, a dragon carrying a human rucksack. It might be a terrible drawing puzzle. Well, I understand, it is regrettable for this town, but for my owner I'm going to go. Thank you, Layla. Thank me with your hot sperm. Hey, Lyra, although Jean is here, I don't want to talk about it here. Jean's cheeks flushed for a moment, but she doesn't look away. Or rather, Jean is the same age as me. You haven't done anything with us for nearly 20 days. Us. Layla laughs and Jean dropped her gaze. This mansion house has a bathtub on the roof. It is troublesome if you consider it as normal, as you have to bring up the water, but it seems easy with a windmill machine that pumps water up to the roof. Truly a former rich house. So, in the bathtub, Jean and Layla helped me get in as I sweated lightly. The stars seen near the desert were briskly beautiful. Well, I guess that's what I expected. Let's go, Jean. Good. Do you want Jean? You, don't say that so soon. 10-man captain. The thin cloth that Jean was wearing was stripped off by Layla and her nude body appeared under the starry sky. Flat chest, pretty ass. However, it is slightly novel that there is only a light bush. In other words, she is the first one who has pubic hair, as I was surrounded by half-elves and dark elves who have no pubic hair. A couple of nights after returning to the Dragon Palace, I taught Jean about sex, and she has been developed since then. She was able to experience the comfort of sex by an illusion firmly. Now Jean is perfect, right? But, please, can you go easy? The crotch is opened by Layla, and the young girl whose cheeks become red made a pose. I was strangely excited by the gap between Layla's perfect nudity and Jean's young nude body, and I kept exposing my dick that erected just now. You're fully motivated, boy. I was just worried because you would say I'm a lullicon, that it's not a rocket. That's for sure. I should be sure. But when there is a plump woman who has been fucked solidly and that extraordinary person exposed a small genital that is waiting for my dick, I am excited about it. I would never dream of such a thing. However, it is possible to imagine what would happen if I have sex with an extraordinary masochist and a small, immature virgin. I wonder how hard it will be inside. I wonder how much pain she has when I overrun her with my dick and how pleased she will be. I wonder how crazy this young light body will get. Under the night sky, I don't know whether it is responsive thoughtfully. 10-man captain, do you want to put your penis inside me? Do you want to produce a half-dwarf, delicate and yet, brute, hey, it's fine. I want 10-man captain to get drunk with me. I would like to receive 10-man captain's sperm every day, so that I get pregnant and give birth to a half-human child. I'm a pervert, ho. You are good. I can see that you liked the illusion I showed you so much. Layla Onissima, you know my secret that I'm crazy about 10. Man Captain, let's do it. Together we will have sex with our owner. Oh, I don't know what she meant, but I feel like that Jean awakened a pervertness of the same vector as Layla. Even though she is still inexperienced. Nonetheless, I can't refuse it. Desirably and physically. I only can have sex with this pervert innocent girl and masochist woman. Cool. Two genitals come in contact and guided by hand I enter Jean's virgin pussy. As she is pushed down by Layla, she soon will lose her hymen as I just rest before it. Qua, egu, you. Jean, it's impossible, it's not impossible, force it inside more, I'm fine if it hurts, Jean smiles. Have she been in sync with Layla in earnest? I know that 10. Man Captain is really a strong man. I know you're a man who can pierce me at once, now 10. Man Captain, you can fuck me, I can endure it. I want to be fucked by 10. Man Captain, as it is good to be fucked by a strong man, Jean, that's why I know it will hurt a lot. It's going to hurt a lot but 10. Man Captain will make me feel good. Therefore I'm ready. 10. Man Captain's colt can be inserted. I'm asking for such a ecchi act. It's just that I want to experience it even if it's painful so 10. Man Captain doesn't need to worry. Now, pierce my vagina completely, good grief, such a perverted girl, yes. Ho, absolutely. What it means to be stained is that element. That's good to be happy. I don't care about virgins, young people, and so on. I am convinced that it is okay. So, it seems like a blend of a deep dwarf girl who is pleased with pain, a female pervert dragon who shakes her hips forcefully to make someone envies, but no one feels unreasonable to have sex together, aha, it hurts, 10. Man Captain. My vagina is teared apart, 10. Man Captain's huge penis is spreading my vagina apart. Ho, Jean is a lewd person, as you have a really good expression, you make a good face, Jean. Really? 10. Man Captain, do you also have such a face? While shedding tears from the pain, Jean continues to be pressed without moving her young waist, while sticking out her tongue. Layla praises Jean while licking her tears with her long tongue. This perverted outdoor sex with two beautiful women easily pushes me who didn't ejaculate yet to the apex and releases all sperm in Jean's young womb. Hijya. 10. Man Captain's thing, now, AAA. Oh. What a beautiful pink juice. And so much of it, it was a long time now, this, amazing, Layla Onissima, 10. Man Captain's thing going crazy, I understand now, Jean's small body is having convulsions according to the pulsation of my penis. I'm a little worried. However, Jean is obliged to receive my sperm to the last drop in her uterus, due to Layla hugging me from the back and keep pressing onto me until my ejaculation ends. And as I released the last drop, Jean opened her eyes wide, before she fainted. Hey, Layla, Jean, ho. It's alright, she will wake up after a while. Layla lays Jean down on a cloth, before she straddles over my dick. If it comes to me at all, I will only fail, and if such precious sperm comes out, I will become a prey for my destined boy. That's a weird way of saying pretending to be a prey. Well, what should I say? Well, should I say that I have been stabbed by a superb person before, or should I be a masturbation hole first? You're the kind of danger that made me do something like that. If it's a matter of preference, don't worry, well then, it will be so. While watching Layla's towering milks, I drag myself to be the villain. Layla, I will clean my cock quickly with your hole, accept it quickly into your uterus, well then. Hoo, you can bully me without moving. If that is okay, now let's dance on me, dedicate a hole in my body to the cock and drown myself from myself, yes, my owner. My hole, Fill it with your cock more and more, paint it with your semen and let me get pregnant in my butthole or mouth. Let's have sex, you deficit woman. You. In that way, use me more as a sperm bag, and look down on me, your meat whole cattle as you ejaculate. Good, move, I hit her buttocks. Layla was pleased every time I did it. While twisting Layla's nipples, she swallowed the first ejaculation in her vagina without permission, but still requesting the next without allowing me to stop. I enjoy Layla, who joyfully follows up by saying provoking words to my favorite masochist Layla. Hey, I will enter into your butt next, I'm not satisfied yet. Ha, boy, no, master. Please enjoy my butt. I ejaculated for a while. Semen overflows from both holes and I stroke Layla, who is lying beside me, as I look up at the stars and sigh. Sighing is a disgraceful way while sleeping with a woman. No, I surprisingly behave like a child. I got injured and I rely on Diane, Selenium, and Zeros and Layla. Idiot, behave like a spoiled child. If you will let me do that, please count on me as much as you can, but, if Master really has something to attract women of different species, then Master is spoiled. Master acknowledges and respects the other's value and accepts their weaknesses. So, if you forgive us for being ourselves, we will forgive our Master as much as we can. I don't understand anything. Is that okay? Ho, very troublesome. Even so I will help Master to improve. Layla kissed my neck and straddled over me again. He is having sex with a dragon. He's actually incredible. 100. Man Commander Becker, sooner or later you will die from peeping. 10. Man Captain and Zeros, what are you doing her? I happened to look for Smithson, when I saw a scene like this. You are too serious, please leave me alone.